Yo, what up, y'all? It's your boy Rob coming back at you once again with another live stream. So before we get started, you already know what to do. If you're not subscribed to the channel, make sure you hit the bell icon twice. Smash the like button, share this video out to all of your followers, and let's get it cracking, man. I'm, I'm laughing so hard, man. This is gonna be a wild show, man. First, before we get started, make sure y'all show some love to my man AB Promotion. AB Promotion and DJ Elmo got me dying laughing in the chat already. AB said, "Don't get de-rinsed while drinking gin on Discord." That's hilarious. Oh man, show some love to AB Promotions, the first stream sponsor off the rip, man. I definitely appreciate it with the $4.99 super chat. Also, make sure you guys show love to Lehman Lucas. All right, throw some radiation emoji in the chat for Lehman Lucas. What's good with it, Fanteezy? And show some love to my man AJ. All right, both of them, Lehman Lucas and AJ, helped contributed to the show on Cash App. Definitely appreciate it. You guys know your boys got goals, and I'm putting it toward the goals, and we getting there. All right, so shout out to everybody. Glad we got Denise back. Everybody throw some radiation emoji in the chat. I don't even know if Denise knew that she was she had got blocked somehow, but she's back. Thank goodness. You know what I'm saying? Now, I'm not asking the mods to, don't snitch on each other and y'all ain't got to roll because it's not that deep. All right. But I just want to reiterate to everybody. All right. Don't sweat the trolls. Do not sweat them. All right. Remember when that Bernie Sanders troll came in? If worse comes to worse, we'll turn members only on. All right. Sometimes I like messing with the trolls. It's my little vice. I like messing with them. Don't take them from me. All right. Y'all don't need, I didn't go back and investigate and see who did it because I know those things happen by accident at times. It's all good. It's all good. All right. So don't trip. I'm just saying though, you know what I'm saying? YGLTB1 got deleted. He got blocked one time, and it was on a stream where he had donated over $100. And on top of it, he's a channel member. Denise is a channel member. You know what I'm saying? YouTube, you know what I'm saying? My two of the channels that I use are monetized. I have people that expect content. They expect to be able to comment. They expect to be able to comment on members only content, which I've been lacking in, but I plan on, you know what I'm saying, getting together pretty soon. If somebody gets accidentally blocked, please unblock them. You know what I'm saying? If you can't unblock them, don't be afraid. Say it in the comment section. I'll take care of it. You know what I'm saying? And it's all good. No worries. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to DJ Elmo. Y'all gonna make DJ Elmo go Sherlock Homeboy on you. You know what I'm saying? DJ Elmo said, "Peace, family." Whose fat thumb's been blocking members? I'm gonna go Sherlock Holmes on the culprit. Hey, y'all got me dead, man. All right, so now that we got that out the way, shout out to all the early birds, everybody that's in the building early. All right, we got my man KO Kid Fit up in here. We got Terrence Jackson. We got Vovo 2 Love. We got Torian. Shout out to my man Torian. We got Carlton Way in the building. We got Catsy. We got Kid Gravity in the building. We got Maxwell Jenkins in the house. We got David Brown. Welcome back, Denise. We got Denise. We rescued Denise out of the deep blue abyss. We got DJ Elmo in the house. We got Brooklyn Queen in the building. We got Fantizzy in the house. All right. And we got my man Lloyd Sky 9 up in here. And Shamika Gray. All right. So shout out to everybody. If you guys are not subscribed to the Discord, please make sure you guys take a moment and hit that link that's in the chat and subscribe to the Discord. Not only will you get notifications, and shout out to Black Star Racer. What's good with you, bro? You not only will get notifications for the content, but you will also get notifications for content within the Discord because the Discord itself has a ton of content in it. So make sure that you guys check that out. And also we got cool little games and little prizes and stuff like that that you can play. So it's cool. So make sure y'all become a part of that. My goal is to get 1,000 people in the Discord. So help me out with that. 1,000 active people. You know what I'm saying? So what we about to do right now is we're going to talk about the undocumented bros. And you guys know across Black Light Revelations 1 and 2, we've been tracking the undocumented bros. And they out here wilding. That's why we got my man NYCKZ on the thumbnail. You know what I'm saying? Oh, you mad because they wilding on you? Because they out here wilding. When I say they out here wilding, they're out here wilding. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to take a look at what's going on in New York City. All right. Once we get done with New York City, we're going to take it to Chicago and we're going to look at what's going on in Chicago. Now, let me ask you guys a question. Do you all feel that the New York and Chicago migrant flood is a bipartisan effort? If you all feel that it is, give me a thumbs up. If you feel that it isn't, then give me a thumbs down. And come election 2024, what kind of political retaliation should both parties get as a result of their collaboration and destruction of these FBA majority cities? That's my question for you guys. Let me know what you guys think. All right. We're going to get into this. All right. So shout out to Nas on Twitter. All right. Nas posted this video of Mayor Eric Adams, which we're actually going to look at an article from the New York Post and discuss this. But it says deportation is the only solution. Now, do you guys remember the stream that we did yesterday where we talked about Cornel West? I'm going to ask y'all something. Do you guys feel that my stream is going to qualify as what Cornel West would say is quote unquote anti-immigrant? Because remember, Cornel West tried to throw out there, oh yeah, you know, I got one or two friends that's FBA, ADOS, Freeman, but you don't flip on no immigrants. Oh, come on, man. We never turned on anybody. You know what I'm saying? They flipped on us. We're not the ones going around screaming La Raza. You know what I'm saying? We're not the ones coming from countries that have Nazi battalions. You know what I'm saying? It's not us doing that. It's not us going around calling people Akatas. And it's not us getting jobs with PragerU and all of these different places and trying to crap on our history. That's not us doing that, Cornel West. You know what I'm saying? So Nas on Twitter says deportation is the only solution. This tweet says, breaking, Mayor Adams basically conceding New York City is done because of illegal immigration and warns New Yorkers illegals will flood all neighborhoods. This is the mayor. This is Mayor Eric Adams saying this. Okay. It's getting bad out here if you got the mayor saying that, right? I agree, Carlton, and that's not a bad idea. That would be a challenge, but that is actually the one of the optimal solutions, if you ask me. Carlton says deportation isn't the only solution. We can reverse the roles and make them our economic base. Facts. Facts. That would be a lot easier if we didn't have traitorous politicians like Eric Adams. But that's absolutely a viable solution that should actually be looked into. That's an aggressive, assertive, ambitious solution. And I think that that's something that should be done. If you guys agree with Carlton, give me a thumbs up. If you all disagree with Carlton, give me a thumbs down. Let's listen to what Hip Hop Mayor has to say, shall we?
Support. And let me tell you something, New Yorkers. Never in my life have I had a problem that I did not see an ending to. I don't see an ending to this. I don't see an ending to this. This issue will destroy New York City. Destroy New York City. We're getting 10,000 migrants a month. One time we were just getting Venezuela. Now we're getting Ecuador. Now we're getting Russian speaking coming through Mexico. Now we're getting Western Africa. Now we're getting people from all over the globe have made their minds up that they're going to come through the southern part of the border and come into New York City. And everyone is saying it's New York City's problem. Every community in this city is going to be impacted. We had a $12 billion deficit that we're going to have to cut every service in this city.
$12 billion deficit. We're starting this over. I want everybody to hear this very clearly. Okay? Hear this very clearly. If you guys haven't smashed the like button yet, please make sure you guys take a moment, smash that like button. You guys know what's that magic number. We got a magic number for the likes. What's the number? We got 30 live viewers and we got 19 likes. We're not going to hit that magic number like that. Also, if you guys have not smashed the like button and shared the stream, please take a moment and do that. And if you're cloud watching, stop being scared and subscribe to the channel. Nobody's going to bite. You know what I'm saying? Nobody's gonna bite. My mods only block people that super chat and are members. I'm just kidding.
Support. And let me tell you something, New Yorkers. Never in my life have I had a problem that I did not see an ending to. I don't see an ending to this. I don't see an ending to this. This issue will destroy New York City. Destroy New York City. We're getting 10,000 migrants a month. One time we were just getting Venezuela. Now we're getting Ecuador. Now we're getting Russian speaking coming through Mexico. Now we're getting.
Now check out the diversity of the migrants that he's talking about. Venezuela, Ecuador, now Russian speaking migrants. Now, here's my question. Has the news talked about the diversity of the migrants and where they're coming from? Because I think that that's kind of important. I think that that's an interesting detail to talk about, but they don't really do that. So my question for you guys is, why do you guys think that they don't do that?
Western Africa, now we're getting people from all over the globe have made their minds up that they're going to come through the southern part of the border and come into New York City.
Shout out to Amir. What's good, bro?
And everyone is saying it's New York City's problem. Every community in this city is going to be impacted. We had a $12 billion deficit that we're going to have to cut. Every service in this city is going to be impacted. All of us. And so I say to you, as I turn it over to you, this is some of the most educated, some of the most knowledgeable, probably more of my commissioners and deputy commissioners and chiefs live in this community. So as you asked me a question about migrants, tell me what role you played. How many of you organized to stop what they're doing to us? How many of you were part of the movement to say, we're seeing what this mayor is trying to do and they're destroying New York City? It's going to come to your neighborhoods. All of us are going to be impacted by this. I said it last year when we had 15,000. I'm telling you now, with 110,000, the city we knew we're about to lose. And we're all in this together, all of us. Staten Island is saying, send them out to Manhattan. Manhattan is saying, send them out to Queens. Queens is saying, send them out to Brooklyn. No. It's not the game we can play. Open the floor up.
Open the floor. Open the floor. Wave in the 4-4. All they saying is no migrants no more. Oh, man, it's bad out there in New York City, son. It's bad out there. You know what I'm saying? Where the mother be? It's 7:30 out there with all them immigrants. So now there's a protest that's popping off, all right? Because on Staten Island, you know what I'm saying? Shaolin, son, you know what I'm saying? They planning on making a shelter. And the people on Staten Island, they're not feeling that. A lot of people not feeling that. You know what I'm saying? Let's check this out and see what they're talking about here.
Another night of protests at a former Catholic school in Staten Island now being used to house migrants.
Hundreds of people who live near the former St. John Villa Academy are demanding that the city shut it down. Briella Tomasetti at that facility this.
Now, again, we got to break this down. I want to ask you guys in the comment section. It's clear that regardless where you at, California, Texas, you know what I'm saying? New York, Chicago, people are not feeling what is going on with this handling of quote unquote migrants. Now, another thing that you will see is that this quote unquote anti-immigration sentiment, allegedly, there's been a lot of publications that have been published about Eric Adams, saying that Eric Adams is anti-immigrant. He's xenophobic. He's spreading dangerous rhetoric. Have you guys seen those? TD Hip Hop Media has gone over those in great detail. However, he's not the only person who is making these kind of assertions. He's not the only person that has these kinds of reservations about these particular issues. There are other politicians elsewhere that are saying the same thing, but for some reason, they're being protected by selectively being kept out of the media. We're going to talk about those politicians, and I'm going to ask you guys why.
This morning, what's going on, Briella?
Rosanna and Bianca, good morning to both of you. Yeah, a few workers, a van came and dropped them off just a few minutes ago. Security guards are here. Cops are here patrolling the scene behind us. Other than that, though, it is relatively quiet, certainly different compared to what was happening here last night. And these protests are pretty much becoming a regular occurrence here now. A lot of back and forth, too, when it comes to the St. John Villa Academy. A Staten Island judge initially ruled that the city could not use it as a shelter. Then the city appealed, having the ruling overturned. And then Republican lawmakers filed a lawsuit to get the shelter shut down.
So I want you guys to see, are you guys listening to the local politics? Because let me ask you guys something. Everybody who is the content, right? Everybody who is the content of these YouTube videos that are making all of this money, these Joe Biden videos and all of this, those guys haven't been mentioned yet. This is politics on the local level. So let me ask you guys a question. Are weak local politics causing this demise? If they are, give me a thumbs up. If they're not, then give me a thumbs down.
It as a shelter. Then the city appealed, having the ruling overturned. And then Republican lawmakers filed a lawsuit to get the shelter shut down. That case is being heard in court today. It was yet another night of heated protests out on Staten Island. Hundreds of demonstrators marching through the streets armed with megaphones, signs, and American flags.
I realize it's a sanctuary city, but there has to be a limit to our compassion.
The borough has been at the center of the city's migrant crisis since the end of last month, when the Adams administration started to house asylum seekers at St. John Villa Academy. The former Catholic school has been transformed into a 300-bed makeshift shelter and is now the site of rallies often led by the borough's Republican elected officials.
Now, here goes my question. Are these rallies being led by quote unquote Republican officials, or do you think that this is majority disgruntled New Yorkers in general? Just like how there's bipartisan effort to initiate these things, if you ask me, there's also bipartisan dissatisfaction with what's going on as well. But the mainstream media will never let you know that. Shout out to Carla. And shout out to my man, Amir. Facts. We need 7 more likes. We got to get that 200. We're approaching our first 100. So make sure you guys smash that like button. And also share the stream if you haven't.
We don't have the infrastructure here. We're not vetting anybody. We don't know if anybody has a.
So look, they're not. Do you hear what this lady said? They don't have the infrastructure here, and they're not vetting anybody. Now, let me ask you guys a question. What's important about the vetting process? Because that's extremely important.
We don't have the infrastructure here. We're not vetting anybody. We don't know if anybody has a criminal background. We don't know what they may have done in their country of origin.
They should be separated from the community until they're properly vetted. And when they're properly vetted, then they can be welcome.
New York has been dealing with an influx.
So I think it's interesting that when it comes to a lot of these complaints, right, these two women that we just heard now, the biggest complaints that they have is that they're quote unquote not being vetted. Now, my question is, why are these people not being vetted? That's kind of dangerous, don't you think? Now, I get these letters, these emails from USCIS, right? And man, I haven't had a chance to do one of those Ice Baby episodes of Crimecast, but like I said, when I get back on Crimecast is going to be like 10 hours long. You know what I'm saying? If you guys haven't checked out Crimecast, make sure you guys not only check out Crimecast, but check out the Ice Baby playlist. When these people are describing these migrants, quote unquote, mainly male, not vetted, single, without families. How do they not have information on these people? And shout out to Lehman Lucas. And you guys, make sure you guys show love to Lehman Lucas with that Cash App. Shout out to MC Fact. The vetting process keeps criminals out. Facts. So now let me ask you guys a question. I agree with what MC Fact said. The vetting process keeps criminals out. So now if these people are not being vetted, then what do you think is happening?
Of asylum seekers since last spring. More than 107,000 migrants have arrived in the city since the crisis began. 59,000 asylum seekers are currently under the city's care across 200 emergency shelters. Mayor Adams even clashing with Governor Hochul over the issue, denouncing her stance that the city should limit its movement of migrants to other parts of the state. But
So I want you guys to understand this. Mayor Kathy Hochul says that the migrants shouldn't be moved to other parts of the state. Yet Mayor Kathy Hochul is not doing anything with the state funds to assist Mayor Eric Adams in New York. So now here's my question. What's the expectation of what Mayor Eric Adams should do? Now, here's an even better question. Why doesn't Kathy Hochul want the migrants moved to different locations in New York? Do you guys think that the upstate white New York residents take priority over everybody else and they don't want those upstate white New York residents to be disgruntled? It's just the people that live in the city that should have to deal with this. The people that live in the boroughs. Kathy Hochul is looking at Eric Adams like this was done to disrupt the black inner city population. You need to keep those migrants there. It wasn't done to disrupt the white upstate populations, and we're not having that. If you ask me, there's a little bit of that involved. Actually, if you ask me, there's a lot of that involved. Let's just keep it a buck. It's not just a little, it's a lot. Shout out to Tammy. What's good with it, Tammy?
they're aligned when it comes to pleading the federal government for more resources, including emergency funding and expedited work permits. Adams told Fox 5 in a statement, New Yorkers are tired from bearing the brunt of this national crisis, and we empathize with their concerns. The sites we are now finding are the only options left. This situation demands a broader state and national solution. The Department of Homeland Security has identified 11 federal sites across New York that can be used to house migrants. Less than 2% of asylum seekers, though, currently in the city's care are being housed out here on Staten Island. That's about 1,200 people. Residents here, of course, though, are pushing for those.
Now, here's my question for you guys. Why aren't these people being sent back to their country? And here's another thing. How come when these countries, when the residents of these countries illegally come into other countries, there should be not only deportation of them from here, but there should be a punishment waiting for them back home, because I'm sure they probably left the country by illegal means as well. They probably left without a passport and all kinds of stuff. So not only did they probably break laws here in the United States, but they probably also broke laws leaving. So there should be double punishments. There should be punishments there, and there should be punishments here. So now the question is, why doesn't that happen? And real quick, shout out to everybody watching. We got almost 50 people in here, yet we only have 33 likes. If everybody can get on that, that'd be great.
Background checks, and even for an 11 o'clock curfew. For now, we're live outside the St. John Villa Academy. Bianca and Rosanna, back inside to you, ladies.
All right, thank you so much.
All right, so that's that. All right, so what we're about to do now is we're going to check out this article from the New York Post. All right, and this article from the New York Post is basically Mayor Eric Adams expanding on what we saw in that tweet. All right, it's going to be Mayor Eric Adams expanding on why this quote unquote migrant crisis will destroy New York City. All right, so now let me ask you guys a question. Have you all saw any content online yet where people have asked Cornel West about how he feels about this? Because while Cornel West is sitting there finger wagging about anti-immigrant sentiment, I'm curious as to why he's not asking the federal government to support these other politicians. And so my thing is that if people are going to engage with these politicians, if they're going to ask them questions, I'm going to ask it. You're going to ask Cornel West the question, well, do you feel that Mayor Eric Adams is being anti-immigrant, or do you feel that Mayor Eric Adams was overly welcoming to immigrants and now he's getting burnt? And so what's the extent? Where do we draw the line? What is actual anti-immigrant sentiment? Because if you ask me, none of what's going on here is anti-immigrant sentiment. But now, Cornel West says that black people should be quiet about this kind of stuff, right? While this stuff sits here and destroys the little that we have. So we should allow the little that we have to be destroyed on behalf of people that chose to be here when none of us did, and we're just trying to survive every day. I don't think so. That's common sense. That's not happening. You don't need to come with any kind of update, any kind of advanced insight or anything to come up with that as a solution. You know what I'm saying? So now Mayor Eric Adams warns migrant crisis will destroy New York City. And then he rips Biden for failing to help. Now, here's my question. Has anybody seen any content with Joe Biden addressing any of this? So now Yancey 43 says Mayor Eric Adams will destroy NYC because he needs to remove the sanctuary city status. Now, here's my question. How can a mayor strip the city of sanctuary city status? How does that work? And they need to stop taking these illegals. So that means that they also have to stop the Right to Shelter Act in New York City that makes them legally bound to shelter anyone that doesn't have a home. So my question for you, Yancey 43, is how does that work? Now, let's ask these following questions. Did Mayor Eric Adams make New York City a sanctuary city? Is he the one that declared that status for New York City? And I need to answer from everybody, but especially from Yancey 43. Yancey 43 should be the first one to answer that question, and then everybody else's answer should come subsequent. Those are facts. Shout out to Lloyd Sky 9 and shout out to Shamika Gray. Those are facts. Mayor Eric Adams didn't install the sanctuary city status. Now, here's my question. Has Mayor Eric Adams tried to get the right to shelter legislation revoked in the Supreme Court of the state. That's the question. So now, okay. So de Blasio is the one who made New York City a sanctuary city. So my question for you is, how come you didn't mention de Blasio? Because let me ask you a question. Yancey 43 says that Mayor Eric Adams is to blame for the destruction of New York City, right? Now, here's my question. De Blasio is the one who established the sanctuary city status, and de Blasio did nothing to change any of those policies making it a sanctuary city. Mayor Eric Adams has asked for federal funding, and Mayor Eric Adams has also went to court to try to get the right to shelter laws revoked. Now, let me ask you a question, Yancey. How does a mayor revoke laws beyond the Supreme Court of the state? How does that work? That's my question. And that's my question for everybody. How does a mayor supersede the Supreme Court? That's the question. So here's what I would say. I would say that Democrat policy, legacy Democrat policy, in an ongoing continuation of it, has led to the destruction of New York City. A lot of bad decisions across the board. Now, New York City borders Canada, right? How many Canadians are illegally immigrating into New York City? Shout out to John Guillory. What's good with it, bro? How many Canadians are illegally immigrating into New York City from the northern border? Is there floods of Canadians in Buffalo trying to bust through the Niagara Falls borders to get into New York City? Is that happening? That's my question. What's the Canadian immigration looking like? Because Canada is where New York City borders. New York City doesn't border Mexico. So now my question is, who's to say that the New York City sanctuary status wasn't created to compensate for the country that New York borders? I don't know if it was or wasn't. If I'm not mistaken, Illinois borders Canada as well. Illinois doesn't border Mexico, right? Yeah, Canadians are happy where they're at. So my thing is, again, I think Mayor Eric Adams made some bad decisions. But is that a factual statement to say that Mayor Eric Adams destroyed New York City and he's responsible for the ongoing destruction of New York City? Because let me ask you this. When it comes to that sanctuary city status of New York City, and you know, You know, we got to highlight Yancey. Has Mayor Eric Adams done more than any other New York City mayor to attempt to reverse that sanctuary city status or to at least slow the influx of migrants? Yes or no? And I gotta agree with Ricky. Adams has no power in the situation, and you're seeing that play out right now. Shout out to Black Bitcoin Key, Toronto in the building. Black Bitcoin Key closer to me. Black Bitcoin Key probably closer to me than most of y'all, and most of y'all live in the United States. You know what I'm saying? I want everybody in the comment section, especially Yancey, to name me a mayor of New York City who's done more than Mayor Eric Adams to try to deal with this quote unquote influx of migrants. Oh, that's right. He's the only one that dealt with it so far. Did he bring these migrants in himself? Did he invite them to New York City? If I'm not mistaken, the only people that Mayor Eric Adams invited to New York City was LGBTQ people in Florida. Correct me if I'm wrong. Oh, I agree, Maxwell. And one of the reasons why is because we know who's writing the history books. Now, let me ask you a question. Why is it that Governor Abbott, Governor DeSantis, and all of these people who are sending these people all over the United States, why are they not even being mentioned? And here's a better question, because this is some content that I have coming for the future, right? But I'm going to just put this out here so that you guys can start to think about it, critically think about these things, and ask yourself questions. When are we going to start talking about the internal Cold War that's going on in the United States? Yeah, I know what you mean, bro. They work in tandem with each other. Facts. Tammy Dorsey says it's easier to blame the black man. Facts. And that kind of lets you know, in many cases, Yancey's identity. You know what I'm saying? Now, we know once he got broken down and everything is laid out there and we've talked about these things and gone over them in terms of the facts, you know how the YouTube trolls say, you know what I'm saying? Well, as a black person, that's how you always know that it's a white troll. When somebody on YouTube says as a black person, or when anybody in real life just decides to just start babbling without facts, that's how you can always tell. Was that song? Who made that song? Was that Tribe Called Quest? It Ain't Hard to Tell. It ain't hard to tell. And I gotta agree, Ricky Jones. We can't give them a pass. These black politicians did this to themselves. One of the ways that they did this to themselves is putting their support behind other groups of people and just completely ignoring us. Just imagine if Mayor Eric Adams had put all his focus on FBA, he wouldn't be going through this right now. Carlton Way 1 says, I, as a strong, independent black woman, white male troll, facts. Who's probably actually wearing a skirt as he's typing that. You know what I'm saying? Literally nobody addresses themselves in third person as quote unquote a black person. No one does that shit. Oh, it was Nas. Good looking out, AB. It's old though. That's an old song, ain't it? It's from Illmatic, right? So let's check this out. Let's listen to this. All right. Let's see what he's talking about. Let's see what the mayor's talking about. It's up to you, New York. New York.
We turned this city around in 20 months. And then what happened?
Hold on, this is what happened. We turned this city in 20 months. We turned this city. We turned this city in 20 months.
Started with a madman down in Texas, decided he wanted to bus people up to New York City. 110,000 migrants. We have to feed, clothe, house, educate the children, wash their laundry sheets, give them everything they need, health care. And this team here, we stated, let's do everything possible before we have to push it out.
Toria said Rob Sinatra. They came from Texas and won't stop. No. Got off of the buses. No. And had a thought. No. To make it to the great city with the shining lights. Oh man, it's bad in New York City.
Into neighborhoods and communities. Month after month, I stood up and I said, this is going to come to a neighborhood near you.
Hey, shout out to John Guillory. We got the second stream sponsor in the building. Make sure y'all show some love. Throw some radiation emoji in the chat. John said Rob was about to go Thanos snap on all the mods for blocking family in the chat and messing with the church's money. Facts. Yeah, listen, man. Look, let me ask y'all something, man. If y'all was out here trapping, right? And all of a sudden bricks just start coming up missing, man. We got to go hit this block tonight. Oh, man, we can't find the bricks. Then you got to go to the Connect. Connect going to look at you like you crazy. All right, as long as you got the money, you can get some more bricks, but I'm not fronting you nothing else. Then if them bricks keep coming up missing, you're going to end up coming up missing. You know what I'm saying? Just saying.
Well, we're here. We're getting no support on this national crisis, and we're receiving no support. And let me tell you something, New Yorkers. Never in my life have I had a problem that I did not see an ending to. I don't see an ending to.
Hey, that's facts, man. Look, it's impossible to believe that the mayor didn't know he was going to be the fall guy, bro. If Mayor Eric Adams, right? Check this out. If Mayor Eric Adams had just logged onto YouTube and opened up any video with him on the thumbnail, he would have gotten some insight that he's going to be the fall guy. Bro, you about to be the fall guy. Literally everybody said that you was going to be the fall guy. And what's crazy about it is we're actually witnessing him being the fall guy. He didn't do anything for FBA. We know that as a fact, right? But all of this stuff going on, this isn't his fault. You know what I'm saying? And he's getting drugged through the mud hard, like he went down there and brought the migrants to New York. And everybody's just going with it. That's what's crazy. I mean, I want y'all to, if you look at the case of Mayor Eric Adams, this goes to a wider narrative in the United States. You can literally just lie about a black man, even if everybody saw exactly what's going on. And it's just okay. These motherfuckers out here saying that Mayor Eric Adams was anti-immigrant. Are you serious? This dude was more pro-immigrant than he was pro-FBA or pro-black. How the hell was Mayor Eric Adams anti-immigrant? Mayor Eric Adams literally has only said this: the jar is full. We can't put any more inside of the jar. We either need another jar or we have to start giving some back. Literally all Eric Adams has said. Mayor Eric Adams didn't say no stupid ass shit like, you know, it's those immigrants that's doing XYZ. Like how Tommy Tuberville said, black people are the criminals in the United States. Mayor Eric Adams didn't say no shit like that. But it's just like you can write op-eds. You can literally just lie about what happens with a black man, and it's just okay. It's just accepted. The rest of the population, including other black people, get online and get on code with it. It's crazy. We've been following Eric Adams from the beginning. And although Eric Adams was lacking as a mayor, I'm sorry, man. I don't care how much people don't like him. I'm not going to lie on this dude. Everything that I had to say about him, critical, I said about him. I'm not going to sit there and tell a lie on this motherfucker, man. This crisis here, he might have not been as aggressive and been on the wrong side of history, but he didn't cause this crisis. And he's actually trying to do something about it. And they can just write and lie and make all these articles. The news can say this, that, and the other, and everybody's okay with it. Everybody's okay with it. We can just supersede facts. Yeah, it's Eric Adams. It was a motherfucker in the comment section that literally just said that this was Eric Adams' fault, and then 2 seconds later talked about how de Blasio set this all up. Are you serious? But the first thing that you said was that it's Eric Adams' fault. That's what I want everybody to pay attention, especially the black men. This is what we're dealing with. This is what we're dealing with, where anybody can just say anything and you're automatically guilty. This is why everybody needs to pay. When we finally get the power that we need to get, everybody needs to pay. You know what I'm saying? Everybody contributes to this bullshit. Everybody needs to pay.
It is. I don't see an ending to this. This issue will destroy New York City. Destroy New York City. We're getting 10,000 migrants a month. One time we were just getting Venezuela. Now we're getting Ecuador. Now we're getting Russian speaking coming through Mexico. Now we're getting Western Africa. Now we're getting people from all over the globe have made their minds up that they're going to come through the southern.
And I'm not trying to be funny, but to me, this right here sets up the perfect case study, the perfect case example of why black men need to MGTOW from society. Black men need to MGTOW from society, because as long as society has access to black men, they'll always have a cop-out and be able to blame some bullshit on somebody else. Fuck that. Cut off access to yourself and allow society to collapse in on itself and just watch. And then once it does, come back, take over, take control, reap all of the assets. You know what I'm saying? Real quick, ladies and gentlemen, make sure you guys show some love to AB Promotions with the $4.99 super chat. They are actually putting Adams on horseback with a whip at the border. Wow. Make sure you guys throw some radiation emoji in the chat for AB Promotions, the third on the super chat. Definitely appreciate it. Yeah, I agree, Mike. Facts. And super facts, Terrence. Black men are an expendable straw man. If we remove access to everyone, no one can blame us for anything. Then they just have to finger point at each other and implode on their own lack of accountabilities. Never forget that. Always pay attention to that. Everyone needs to pay for that. If black men at some point, there's only one black man left on the earth, your last dying breath should be even whatever attempt that you can with the last cell that's working in your body to at least try to implement that onto society.
Part of the border and coming to New York City. And everyone is saying it's New York City's problem. Every community in this city is going to be impacted. We got a $12 billion.
Shout out to Tarek. My man Tarek says Discord was fun yesterday. That's why everybody needs to join the Discord, man. Let me add to everybody that's an active member in the Discord. How many people are active members in the Discord in the chat? If you part of the Discord gang, throw some flames in the chat. Now, should everybody join the Discord? That's my question for y'all. Y'all should all join it. I'm telling you, it's content in there that we talk about that I haven't even gotten a chance to make videos about. Deep stuff.
Deficit that we're going to have to cut. Every service in this city is going to be impacted. All of us. And so I say to you, as I turn it over to you, this is some of the most educated, some of the most knowledgeable, probably more of my commissioners and deputy commissioners and chiefs live in this community. So as you ask me a question about migrants, tell me what role you played. How many of you organized to stop what they're doing to us? How many of you were part of the movement to say, we're seeing what this mayor is trying to do and they're destroying New York City? It's going to come to your neighborhoods.
Now, here's my question. It's interesting how this stuff kind of just falls out of the news, isn't it? It's interesting how this stuff just falls out of the news. How come this isn't really talked about all like that? As soon as the migrant crisis started going south, now you got to kind of dig for information about what's going on in these places. Why is that?
All of us are going to be impacted by this. I said it last year when we had 15,000. I'm telling you now, with 110,000, the city we knew we're about to lose.
The city we knew we're about to lose. So now, after Mayor Eric Adams has sent that heartfelt message, what do you think is going to happen? If your answer is nothing, you're probably right. So now here says Mayor Eric Adams warned that the raging migrant crisis will destroy New York City and tore into President Biden for ignoring his pleas to help. Now, you know, President Joe Biden will sit there and say that he helped, I bet. That'll be something that Joe Biden says. But my question is, what have we seen the federal government do to support any of these areas where there's this migrant influx? That's my question. While saying the White House has given no support for thousands of asylum seekers arriving each month. I'm going to tell you something. New Yorkers, never in my life have I had a problem I didn't see an ending to. I don't see an ending to this. Adams said at a town hall on the Upper West Side Wednesday night, the issue will destroy New York City. Destroy New York City. His Honor took aim at Biden for not stepping in with federal assistance, as the city has received more than 110,000 migrants in the past year. Month after month, I stood up and said, this is going to come to a neighborhood near you. Well, we're here. We're getting no support on this national crisis, and we're receiving no support, Adams said. Adams also blasted Texas Governor Greg Adams as a madman for busing illegal border crossers to New York City and other liberal cities. So now, again, what I find interesting is that literally nobody is talking about the bipartisan effort. Why do you think that Joe Biden and none of these people have done anything about the Republican mayors and governors sending these people here? And real quick, ladies and gentlemen, we got a fourth stream sponsor. Make sure y'all show some love. Throw some radiation emoji in the chat for Mama Zeke. Mama Zeke says, morning, don't flame your mods. Also, Brickgate proves what you're saying about black men. Facts. And those kind of people like that Brickgate woman will try to take what I'm saying and say, well, he's giving off anti-black woman sentiment. No, I'm not. I didn't say anything about black women. I said what the world does to black men. There's plenty of black women out there who are very supportive of black men, and shout out to them. You know what I'm saying? Nobody's talking about black women. But that's what people like the Brickgate woman do. You know what I'm saying? That's what those people do. They'll literally take anything that anybody says and try to say, see, this motherfucker was talking shit. There ain't nobody talking shit, man. I don't need to talk shit. Internet taking care of everything. Sometimes shit is just automatically regulated. I don't need to say anything. The internet's saying it all. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to Hurricane IQ. What's good with it? So now here it says, go item for item on what Eric Adams ran for as a candidate and look at what we accomplished in 20 months. We turned the city around in 20 months. And then what happened? Adams said, started with a madman down in Texas who decided he wanted to bus people up to New York City. So now here's my question, right? What is Joe Biden or what are any of the Democrats doing at all to not only deal with what's going on in New York, but also to deal with what's going on in Texas? What are they doing? Are they doing anything at all? Is anything ever going to get fixed, changed, or improved? And real quick, ladies and gentlemen, we're getting close to our first 100. If everybody takes a moment and smashes that like button, I'm sure we can get there. And also, if you're not subscribed to the channel, make sure that you take a moment, hit that bell. Also, make sure you follow me on my other social media. AB Promotion says the ads are killing them. The ads are killing them. Be happy I didn't turn them up to every 5 minutes. You want to you want to see what really getting killed by ads looks like? They're only set for every half hour. How many of y'all want me to set them ads to run every 5 minutes? Man, that'll look nice. You know what I'm saying? That'll look nice on the 21st if them ads run every 5 minutes, especially as long as I be live. You know what I'm saying? V1 first said he got canned. The petty crime LGBTQ WXYZIA in government gone, however. The straight males continue on. Yeah, that's facts. Man, facts. Adams supporting Jim Crow Joe to his own demise. Just like stupid ass Cornel West promoting Bernie Sanders to his own demise. We appreciate you, Hurricane IQ. So now here it says the first migrant-filled bus from Texas arrived at Midtown Port Authority on August 5th of 2022, and thousands more migrants have shown up in the rest of the 5 boroughs in the following months. So these are these pictures. 100,000 migrants we have to feed, clothe, house, educate the children, wash their laundry and sheets, and give them health care and everything that they need, Adams said. Actually, you don't. All they need is a one-way ticket back to where they came from, and you good. You ain't got to do all this extra stuff. I don't know what kind of math you out here doing, Mayor Eric Adams, but by my calculations, all you got to do is just turn that bad boy around and send them back. Shout out to Crew Royalty, B1. What's good with it, bro? Right? I mean, am I wrong for saying that? Texas has sent over 13,000 migrants to New York, according to data shared by Abbott earlier this week. The mayor said the Big Apple receives around 10,000 migrants per month, at first from Venezuela, but then Ecuadorian nationals and Russian-speaking individuals came up from Mexico as time went on. Where the hell is them Russians coming from? Now we're getting Western Africa and people from all over the globe that made their minds up that they're going to come through the southern border and come into New York City, Adams added. The financial cost alone has reverberated throughout the city as the government is spending millions to house the migrant. The Department of Homeless Services has given $35 million to 2 New York City hotels to house migrants. Now, that's a nice little profit for those hotels. Is that part of the value chain? Man, these value chain businesses are really banking out. They're really making a lot of money off of this. Oh, it's just so hard. Here, let me give you it's just so hard. Here, let me give you $35 million to make it a little bit easier for you. Give me $35 million. How many black people you think got any money out of that $35 million? How many black people owning hotels up in New York City? So they're expanding the value chain, expanding the wealth gap. Let me give all these white hotel owners $35 million so they could play white savior with these migrants. You see how they run that little hustle, the double dipping? That's why those businesses need to be broken up. Break up them damn businesses. Everyone is saying it's New York City's problem. Every community in this city is going to be impacted. We have a $12 billion deficit that we're going to have to cut. Every service in this city will be impacted. All of us, Adams said. So now let me ask you guys a question. When this $12 billion deficit is cut, what services are going to be cut? And how is that going to impact the city? What's going to end up happening? What's going to go on? Things aren't going to be the same. You know what I'm saying? Something is definitely going to happen. But the question is, what's going to happen? What's going to change? How are things going to change? All of us are going to be impacted by this. I said this last year when we had 15,000. Now I'm telling you with 110,000. The city we knew we're about to lose. And we're all in this together. All of us, he added. Well, not really. They're not really flooding white people's neighborhoods all like that. But sure, you know, whatever you say, bro. A large majority of New Yorkers share the lawmakers' feelings on the crisis, as 82% say that it's a serious problem for the city, while 58% want to stop the flow from the southern border, according to a recent Siena College survey. Representative Elise Stefanik on Wednesday also ripped the Biden administration for the dangerous impact that the border is having on the entire Empire State. Joe Biden's far-left open border policies have caused our northern border to see an unprecedented and historic surge in illegal immigration, and Kathy Hochul's sanctuary state policies have further incentivized this dangerous surge. So now, again, Yancey in the chat didn't mention Kathy Hochul's sanctuary state politics, but there were other people in the chat that did. Honest, good people in the chat that did. You know what I'm saying? And real quick, ladies and gentlemen, if you guys haven't smashed that like button, make sure you guys smash that like button. Also, if you guys haven't hit the bell and share the stream to your social media. We getting close to where we're almost getting 100 people in the stream. So if everybody could keep doing what they're doing, we'll get there eventually. All right. Now we have reports of murder and rapes committed by illegal immigrants in upstate New York. So again, that's why they're asking the question of these people being vetted. So now my question is, why is this kind of illegal immigrant so pervasive in New York and Chicago? Right, Terrence. Yancey, it's okay to admit that you made a mistake. It's okay. Don't you guys think that it's okay to admit that you made a mistake? If you guys feel that mistake admission is acceptable, give me a thumbs up. If you guys aren't cool with mistake admission, give me a thumbs down or an angry face. Whoever decided New York City was a sanctuary state I believe would have been the governor, whatever governor made that decision. And I don't think that the governor that made that decision was Kathy Hochul. I think I think New York City was already a sanctuary state before she became the governor, if I'm not mistaken, but I'm not sure, so don't quote me. So now here it says enough is enough. It's time for Joe Biden to secure our southern and northern border. And the reason why they want to secure the northern border is because Canada is getting upset. Canada is getting upset that all of these migrants keep coming in. And those migrants are the ones that are being bussed from the southern border of the United States, coming up through New York City and going to Canada through that way. You know what I'm saying? So that's what's going on in New York City. You know what I'm saying? Mayor Eric Adams, he mad because they wilding on him. Oh, you mad because they wilding on you. Yeah, they out there wilding on you, bro. You know what I'm saying? Don't look like you getting too much help neither. So now we move to the Chi. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to the Chi-Town. How many people from Chi-Town we got in the building? How many people we got from Illinois in the building? If y'all from Chi-Town or if you're from Illinois, throw some thumbs up in the comment section. You know what I'm saying? Those people out there are wilding too. You know what I'm saying? They out there wilding in Chicago. They out there wilding in Illinois. Criminal actions, criminal levels of wilding. You know what I'm saying? They 7:30 out there.
This is Chicago's very own WGN Evening News at 4.
Now here at 4 o'clock, more migrants arrive in Chicago as concerns grow over lack of housing and overcrowded police stations. Sources telling WGN several migrants have now been involved in altercations with officers. We begin there this afternoon. Good afternoon to you. I'm Lourdes Duarte.
And I'm Ben Bradley. Thanks for joining us. As many as 4 migrants are now facing criminal charges. They're accused of threatening, even hitting Chicago police officers in the last 2 days.
WGN's Julian Cruz is live at the Harold Washington Library where he was trying to get answers from the mayor today. Did he have anything to say, Julian?
Well, Lourdes, he did not appear here at this event. According to a Chicago Public Library press release, he was scheduled to attend a community event here this afternoon. So far, at least, no sign of the mayor, who has yet to speak out on the matter either to City Hall beat reporters or in a written statement. 12th District Chicago police officers about 6:20 this morning dealing with an increasingly tense situation, taking 2 alleged offenders into custody.
Now, what's going on over there? These are hard workers that don't want handouts. Remember? That's what they said on Twitter. Crew Royalty said B1 from the land. Which land? You from Cleveland, Crew Royalty? You from the 216?
Police sources identifying the offenders as migrants. News Affairs calling the individuals in question offenders. The first individual allegedly taking property from the district, attempting to flee, we're told, while a second migrant allegedly battered a responding officer who sustained minor injuries, police say, transported to an area hospital in good condition.
Man, these migrants out here beating up the police. Oh, Chicagoland. Okay. Yo, these migrants out here beating up the police, y'all. Y'all hear Man, somebody needs to really help them with getting dressed and everything. You know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, I don't know what the hell these motherfuckers just be throwing on any damn thing in the morning.
This is Chicago's very own WGN Evening News at 4.
Now here at 4 o'clock, more migrants arrive in Chicago as concerns grow over lack of housing and overcrowded police stations. Sources telling WGN several migrants have now been involved in altercations with officers. We begin there this afternoon. Good afternoon to you. I'm Lourdes Duarte.
Man, what's going on with them and the police? What's going on with the migrants and the police? They out here beating the police up. They taking them bean burritos and busting the police officers upside their head with them. They rolled up some tortillas and went upside somebody's damn head. Damn. Yo, I didn't know that the BB and BB gun meant bean burrito. They done loaded some frijoles inside of the gun and bucking it. Man, that's why they out there wilding in Chicago, man. Hey.
I'm Ben Bradley. Thanks for joining us. As many as 4 migrants are now facing criminal charges. They're accused of threatening, even hitting Chicago police officers in the last 2 days.
WGN's Julian Cruz.
So shout out to migrants, right? Because the migrants them already came over here and understood the privilege. See, it seems like the more violent that you are towards police officers, the higher the likelihood is that you stay alive, isn't it? See, when you're black and you run from a police officer, you get shot and killed. But when you're not black and you go heads up and box with a police officer or shoot at a police officer or do something like that, you get taken in. Right, exactly, data instigator facts. Somehow they didn't get shot. You only get shot if you're black and you're running and if you're unarmed. It's 3 criteria for police officers to shoot to kill: black, running the opposite direction, and being unarmed. If you're anybody else and you attack the police officer, you all good. You will have your day in court. Shout out to the justice system.
Is live at the Harold Washington Library, where he was trying to get answers from the mayor today. Did he have anything to say, Julian?
Well, Lourdes, he did not appear here at this event. According to a Chicago Public Library press release, he was scheduled to attend a community event here this afternoon. So far, at least, no sign of the mayor, who has yet to speak out on the matter either to City Hall beat reporters or in a written statement. 12th District Chicago police officers.
Look at this. It's going down. You see this dude right here? This dude right here listen, man. This dude got on shorts. He got some swimming trunks on, right? Long johns and some damn flip-flops. This person right here got on a damn cast on one leg, some flip-flops over the cast, and this motherfucker right here has on a bathrobe and shorts. Like, you can't make this. Listen, sometimes people contribute to the stuff that people be saying about them. Stop dressing like this. You know what I'm saying? Shit.
It's about 6:20 this morning, dealing with an increasingly tense situation, taking 2 alleged offenders into custody, police sources identifying the offenders as migrants. News Affairs calling the individuals in question offenders. The first individual allegedly taking property from the district, attempting to flee, we're told, while a second migrant allegedly battered a responding officer who...
Why they got all them damn beat cops out there? They need to have a fashion police out there, motherfucker. They need to take off some of that fake Gucci bullshit. Hey, if they really want to catch them motherfuckers, especially in New York City, all they got to do is just leave on D Avenue in Manhattan. All they got to do is just leave one of them tables with all the fake Gucci unattended, or somebody take off their trench coat with all the fake Rolexes in it and just put it down on the ground. Them motherfuckers will flock to that shit like some flies on a dropped popsicle. You know what I'm saying? And it'll be a wrap. They can just get them all like that. But I mean, these cats out here wearing construction uniforms mixed with house shoes. Like, come on, man.
Sustained minor injuries, police say, transported to an area hospital in good condition.
The police.
they sometimes in certain areas, in certain neighborhoods, you can't tell the difference between the crackheads, you know what I'm saying, and migrants. They be wearing the same clothes. You know what I'm saying? You done stole some Dollar General yoga pants and put it on with some Nike sandals. Take that shit off. You know better than that. As much as these motherfuckers be watching American movies and shit like that, you know not to bring your ass around here dressing like that. Stop that. God damn.
To feel secure in doing their jobs. They need to feel secure in the space that they're in.
Vice Mayor and 27th Ward Alderman Walter Burnett reacting to the alarming news, though he's not familiar with the details, he says. Others at City.
Like this one right here. I don't know if this is a he or a she. This motherfucker look like they got some Ugg boots on with some Adidas sandals on top of the Ugg boots. And you know you dead wrong for that zebra pattern bag with them aqua blue, whatever the hell kind of pants them is. You know that that's wrong. I don't know why you're doing that, but please stop.
Hall expressing concern.
I think what we're seeing is a decrease in the conditions at the police districts. We're now at nearly 2,000 individuals across the 22 districts across the city of Chicago, and we are losing control.
2 other violent or threatening.
Okay, so now here's my question, right? Now, you guys just heard the Chicago people. They said, you gotta cool it down, you gotta cool it down, make the migrants stop. We about to lose control. Cool it now they gotta cool it down. Tell them stop. We're gonna lose control. Somebody go stop the migrants. Oh man, we just hired 3 ICE agents, and it's Bobby, Ricky. Oh man, that shit's terrible, man. Hey, real quick, ladies and gentlemen, make sure you guys show some love to my man John Guillory. We got the 5th stream sponsor. Shout out to the 5th stream sponsor. Make sure you guys throw some radiation emoji in the chat. My man John Guillory says, real talk, Rob. Black men are blamed for all problems. Bad fathers, we create the worst things. We actually created many inventions people use today. Facts like stoplights, like stop when you get to the fucking border and turn your ass back around lights. The most active fathers, and yes, built this country. So there's only one answer. Facts. And you know what that radiation emoji means. And shout out to BB Rodriguez. What's good with it? They got to cool it down with them migrants, man. They got to cool it down. Oh, my Lord, man. What happened to when music was good like that? You know what I'm saying? With New Edition and shit.
Incidents reported yesterday involving 12th district migrants, according to sources, raising concern about what appears to be an untenable situation. The trouble starting 9:45 yesterday morning. Juan Marquez Viena, 20 years of age, arrested and charged, according to News Affairs. Viena now facing 1 misdemeanor count of criminal trespass to property and 1 misdemeanor count of assault. About 4 hours later, more tensions. Ana Rondon.
Now remember, right? This should not be unexpected, right? Let me ask y'all a question. How many of you all are subscribed to TD Hip Hop Media? TD Hip Hop Media did a video where he talked about the fact that most of the people in these shelters are single males without any families. Why are you coming here? Why are they coming?
20 years of age, arrested and charged with 1 misdemeanor count of battery against a 12th district officer. We tried several times today to reach Mayor Brandon Johnson for comment. Aldermen we talked to anxious to hear a more detailed plan to address what many include.
Oh, they tried to reach Brandon Johnson, and Brandon Johnson couldn't be bothered. He was up there tripping like Pinky and shit. What the hell y'all motherfuckers want? Don't Brandon Johnson remind you of Pinky on Friday without the Jerry curl? I bet you he'd be tripping just like how Pinky be tripping. Shout out to Dre D. What's good with it? Don't ask me about these motherfucking migrants again. Stomping and shit. And I ain't trying to be funny, man, but I would be willing to put money on it that Brandon Johnson drives a Cadillac. He just looks like a Cadillac driving motherfucker, don't he? I can't stand that dude. Go back and check out my content that I made from when the mayor election was going on in Chicago. I'm not from Chicago, you know what I'm saying? But I warned people about that dude, Brandon Johnson. Yeah, say one more word about them damn immigrants. Say one more word. You know what I'm saying? Waving the gun all in everybody's face.
More detailed plan to address what many, including Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker, has called a long-term crisis. Now, migrants at the 12th district talking.
I mean, Governor Pritzker said that this is going to be a long-term crisis. This does not have to be a long-term crisis. It's not a long-term crisis. What they're trying to do is they're trying to extend this out, and they're trying to wear down the residents of Chicago. They're trying to wear down the people of Illinois to the point where they submit and say, fine, we'll deal with this. Ongoing agitation and ongoing irritation. I can't take it anymore. Fine. What can we do to just deal with this? All right, well, to just deal with this, then just get used to it and just deal with it. That's the strategy. Would you guys agree? If you guys agree that that's the ongoing strategy, give me a thumbs up. If y'all disagree, then give me a thumbs down. They're trying to buy their time. They're trying to wear people out. They're trying to desensitize people to this. And then once people get desensitized to this, they'll continue with what they were doing. It's all about getting people desensitized. They're not planning on fixing any of this. If anybody fixes this, there's going to have to be a hard barrier that the people put up, because the politicians are not going to do this. The politicians are incentivized to continue to keep doing this. You know what I'm saying?
To us off camera, and they say starting after Labor Day, they were woken up at 5 a.m. and they say that they were forced to leave the building with their belongings, standing out on the sidewalk for hours. And they say that when they went back into the—
Now, I'm not trying to be funny, but this right here, this right here, man, this is just a ratchet news report, man. You got these migrants are just coming and engaging in hood shit. This is a ratchet news report. This is some bullshit that, like, if you was just in the hood and it was just a bunch of idiots in the line and ahead of you, wherever you was at, you would expect to hear some shit like this being talked about in terms of rumors. But this is an actual news report. Like, sheesh.
Sidewalk for hours. And they say that when they went back into the building, that there was no discernible sign that there had been any sort of cleaning at all. At the Harold Washington Library, Julian Cruz, WGN News.
So this dude right here, his name is Julian Cruz. So there you go. He's a brown person. That's a white person. So make that make sense. We got these transracials. You know what I'm saying? A lot of them transracials are brown people. I'm brown until I start calling you a miate. You know what I'm saying? When I get around my other peoples. You know what I'm saying? Speaking of get around my other peoples, right? Chicago Alderman Ray Lopez calls out Biden for not addressing migrant crisis. Now, how come the New York Times didn't write an article about him? They wrote an article about Eric Adams. Shout out to Alonda. What's good with it, Alonda? That's real. They don't be brown, bro. They don't be brown at all. You know what I'm saying? They be pale, stale, and big as a whale. You know what I'm saying? They be pale, stale, and big as a whale. And sometimes when you talk to them, you figure out that they slow as a snail. You know what I'm saying? They be pale, stale, and big as a damn whale. That shit don't make no damn sense. Now, how come his ass ain't in the damn New York Times? This dude right here, Alderman Ray Lopez. Remember when in the stream yesterday when we were talking about Cornel West? And we were talking about how Cornel West's significant other is an Iranian immigrant. Now, again, want to make sure this isn't the channel for that. Wasn't nobody sitting up here saying, well, you know, he don't need to be with that woman. Nah, it's not this channel. You know what I'm saying? This channel don't do that. But what we were saying is, well, maybe that's one of the reasons why he has the stance on immigration that he has, which to me and to everybody in the comment section doesn't make sense, right? Because what the hell does that have to do with anything? You know what I'm saying? You got a constituency that you got to serve. You know what I'm saying? But the reason why I bring that up, right, is because remember what I said? Remember when I said, I don't understand. There's people, Latino people, whose parents are immigrants, who are more anti-immigrant, quote unquote, than Cornel West. You guys remember when I said that? If y'all remember when I said that, give me a thumbs up. Alonda said Kamala Harris is slated to appear on the Jennifer Hudson show this very afternoon. The preview to that episode looks very cringe. Oh God, Lord have mercy. You know, Jennifer Hudson ain't about to tell a whole bunch of light skin jokes. She should though. The very first question that Jennifer Hudson should ask to Kamala Harris is, I heard light skinned people are crazy. Is that true? And I guarantee you, Kamala Harris would just laugh and say something stupid. But she ain't about to ask that shit, though. But she should. You know what I'm saying? AB Promotion said, I don't think anchors use their real names. I don't know if they do or they probably don't. Some of them probably don't. How come this guy hasn't had an article written about him by New York Times? But Mayor Eric Adams did. He's saying the same thing. Let me ask you guys a question. Is this guy, Ray Lopez, here saying the same thing that Eric Adams has said? So now, my question also is, why hasn't Cornel West said anything? I have a feeling that somebody is going to make a video about something like that at some point. I'm not sure. I can't say who, but I guarantee you that at some point, somebody's going to make a video that addresses that. So let's see what this Chicago alderman says, all right? And real quick, ladies and gentlemen, if you guys haven't hit that like button, let's see how close we are. We got 85 likes. We are approaching our first 100. Let me see. Hold on real quick. I'm waiting for this to... Okay, yeah. Okay, so we got 90 likes. We need 10 likes to get to 100. So smash that like button.
Quit talking about all the great things that you supposedly did for this state, because I'm looking at 12,000 mouths to feed in my city alone that they have completely forgotten about.
15th Ward Alderman Raymond Lopez blasting President Biden, accusing the president of
Now,
ignoring.
let me ask you guys a question. Did you see how this guy came on here aggressive and sassy? When do you ever hear black politicians going at the federal government like that? And I got to agree with Ricky Jones. If you guys agree with Ricky Jones, give me a thumbs up. If you guys disagree, give me a thumbs down. I'm going to do a video very soon. We're going to be highlighting Vivek Ramaswamy. And Jimmy Dore just can't fathom in his peanut brain how Vivek Ramaswamy can be a white supremacist, yet he's not white. Which he actually can fathom it. He understands it perfectly fine. Every white person understands how somebody who's not white can be a white supremacist. And if you don't understand, let me explain it to you. How many people here are fans of teams that aren't in the city that they're from? That's how the fuck you do it. Very simple. You know what I'm saying?
The growing migrant crisis here in Chicago and at the border.
Lopez openly challenging the president to fix the broken immigration system that has more migrants being bused here to Chicago without any substantive plan in place to pay for.
He having a little bit of trouble there. Can we get it out? Substantive. Shout out to my man Jay Bird. What's good with it? He was having a little bit of an issue there.
Scott Schneider is
place to pay for their care.
Scott Schneider is here now with more.
It's being bused here to Chicago without any.
He said Chicago. Hey, he said Chicago.
Substantive. Lopez openly challenging the president to fix the broken immigration system that has more migrants being bused here to Chicago without any substantive plan in place to pay for their care.
Scott Schneider is here now with more.
Yeah, Corey and Don, on a day when the head of his party was in Wisconsin, a key battleground primary, not to vote for Joe Biden and Kamala Harris's re-election for what he says is their failure to address this crisis. And
now I want you guys, do you guys see that? Did you guys hear that?
Taxpayers in Kamala Harris's re-election for what Lopez was the Corey and Don on a day when the head of his
now this guy Lopez, did you guys hear that? Reading is fundamental. Y'all got me dying laughing. Hey, he got stuck. He said substantive. Man, that's hilarious. This alderman, it sounded like what they said was that he called for his constituents to not support Joe Biden and Kamala Harris in the election. If you guys heard that, give me a thumbs up. If you guys didn't hear that, give me a thumbs down. Now, again, question we got to ask. We got to talk amongst ourselves. We got to figure this out. Why is it that our politicians don't advise things like that? Why don't they advise methods like that? Why is that? Other people can. We're looking at this individual do it here.
party was in Wisconsin, a key battleground state. Alderman Lopez was the lone Democrat at today's Cook County party slate primary not to vote for Joe Biden and Kamala Harris.
Now, see, did you see that? Not to vote. Let me ask you guys a question. Have our politicians ever advised us to disruptively vote? And I got to agree with Torian. They're not our politicians. Yeah, some of these anchors' names be wild, bro. They be they be wild, man.
His re-election for what he says is their failure to address
substantive plan in place, without any substantive plan in place, any substantive plan in place to pay for their care.
Scott Schneider is here now with more.
Yeah, Corey and Don, on a day when the head of his party was in Wisconsin, a key battleground state, Alderman Lopez was the lone Democrat at today's Cook County party slate primary not to vote for Joe Biden and Kamala Harris's re-election for what he says is their failure to address this crisis and spare taxpayers any further burden.
President Biden in Milwaukee today touting his $1 trillion Infrastructure and Jobs Act. While here in Chicago, one local lawmaker pressed the president for his plan to offset the skyrocketing cost to house and care for the steady influx of migrants.
There's no one saying how much we've spent from July 1 and what we'll go through until December 31st. I'm anticipating that bill will be another $120 to $150 million.
15th Ward Alderman Raymond Lopez says the through line in the migrant crisis extends from Washington to Springfield to right here in Chicago.
We know the buses keep coming every day. We know that we have 1,000 people in police stations right now.
Who's paying for the buses, gas, and all of that? Like, who's paying for the maintenance on the buses? Who's paying for the tires? You know what I'm saying? Who's paying for the gas? Who's paying for the oil changes? Who's paying for all this stuff? Where's it all coming from? Yeah, I gotta agree, Janine. This is insane. This is insane. Yeah, and I gotta agree with Too Real for Most. We're paying for it. Taxpayer dollars. Despite what the white media says, we are all taxpayers. And for anybody who doesn't seem to understand that, we got 88 people watching. Shout out to everybody that's watching. If you work and pay taxes, put a $sign in the chat. Now, if you ask delusional white people all over social media, these people literally think that all 86 of us, we all sit here and collect on a welfare check. If you ask me, these people should constantly be reminded and roasted of their idiotic takes and sentiments. You should never be allowed to forget how much of an idiot you are. You know what I'm saying?
With no clear plan of what to do and no way of paying for whatever's coming down the pipe.
Chief Larry Snelling, Brandon Johnson's pick for police superintendent, was asked.
So now, again, what I need to know is, why is there not a New York Times op-ed about Ray Lopez? Shout out to Torian. Torian said, I don't know if you've seen Lucas rants lately, but he's really embraced villainy lately when it comes to PC. Oh yeah, I gotta check it out. I haven't really been checking Lucas out lately, but I check Lucas out the same way I check Abba and Preach out. Once when I do watch a video, I'll probably watch like 5 or 6 of them, and then I'll watch it for probably a week or two, and then I'll be on to something else. Like I kind of, when I watch, sometimes I'll go without watching videos, and then I'll watch videos in spurts. Like I'll binge watch a bunch of videos. You know what I'm saying? You know what? I could tell. I was actually going to say something, but I don't want to say it because the comment that I was going to say would probably wouldn't impact my channel in a positive way. You know what I'm saying?
This week,
Speaking of not impacting my channel in a positive way, please make sure that you guys are subscribed to my backup channels. If you're not subscribed to them yet, take a moment and make sure that you guys subscribe to all of my backup channels. All right. Also, again, the Discord is extremely important. Make sure that you're part of the Discord by hitting the link that is in the chat.
Plan is for moving out migrants currently being housed in Chicago police stations.
I don't have a timeline on that right now.
We have maybe a structural surplus built into the annual budget of about $400 million, of which 300 of it has been eaten away because of this migrant crisis. And it will only get worse the longer we wait to address this matter.
Now, Lopez maintains under the Biden administration, too many asylum seekers remain in the country for an indefinite period of time, ultimately deferring the legitimacy of their claim for asylum when deportation is the more prudent action. Corey?
They said that
we're talking about Biden.
They said that deportation was the more prudent action. Okay. So that's what Ray Lopez said. And shout out to Torian. Torian let us know that Ray Lopez is he's a tenured member of the Academy. You know what I'm saying? He's a tenured member of the Academy. So he probably won't be getting called out by any of the white media for his sentiments and his idea of what he thinks should go on with the migrants. All right. So now this is what we have right here. As the number of migrants in Chicago tops 13,000, right, which is not anywhere near what they have in New York City. What was the number for New York City? How many migrants do they have in New York City? Somebody remind me. As the number of migrants in Chicago tops 13,000, the city's struggle to provide housing continues. Again, why is that even a struggle? Why are you even providing housing? What about the city's homeless population of people who are citizens? What about FBA people in FBA neighborhoods? Yeah, like 160,000, 110,000. So now here's my question, guys. Shout out to Afro Elite. What's good with y'all? If y'all not subscribed to him, man, Make sure y'all subscribe to his channel. Make sure y'all help get him to 10K by the end of the year. So he probably get to the 10K by the end of the month, for real, for real. So why is it, or what's going to happen when Chicago goes beyond 13,000 residents? 13,000 migrants. What's going to happen? If they're already struggling at 13,000, what is going to happen when it gets to be more than that? More money is going to be spent, right? So to figure out how much is going to be spent, all you have to do is just factor the greatest common denominator and multiply it times the amount of money that's being spent on those 13,000. That's going to expand that amount of money in an insane amount. And here's the question: who's going to be paying that bill?
Migrants began arriving in Chicago from Texas.
And the city continues to struggle to find safe and sanitary locations for them to stay.
NBC5's Lisa Chavarria joins us now live in studio. And Lisa, things got heated at heated over this issue that is in Hyde Park.
That's right. And majority of the people that were speaking say they don't want this. They don't want to see this in their area. Hyde Park residents, they had a chance to weigh in on the
Okay, so now check this out, right? Y'all heard what that lady just said. What that lady just say? What that lady just say? That lady just said most people do not want this, right? Isn't that the same thing that lady said in New York City? Most of them people in New York don't want that. So what we understand now is that most of these people, regardless of where they're living at in New York City or Chicago or any one of these areas being flooded with migrants, do not want this going on in their community. So now at this point where we are the politicians advocating for and creating actionable actions to substantiate and support their constituents? That's my question for you guys. Let me know the answer.
This in their area. Hyde Park residents, they had a chance to weigh in on the city moving about 300 migrants into the Lakeshore Hotel as early as next month. This was just some of the reaction.
I don't want them there. Take them someplace else or send them back to Venezuela. I don't care where.
So now this is what Cornel West is talking about, right? Let me ask you guys a question. Do you all think that if Cornel West listened to what this lady said, Cornel West would sit up there and say, "Oh, nah, sister, you got a little bit of an anti-immigrant sentiment"? You think that he would say that? I think that he would. I don't think that she's being anti-immigrant. I think that she wants her community to be safe and secure, and she wants those people who are coming in, for one, to not be bussed there because they don't belong there, and for two, to come into the country legally. That's what I think. That's what I see. Oh, okay. Shout out to Torian. Torian said this is what Afro Elite showed in his live a few days ago. Okay, that's what's up. I guarantee you Afro probably said the exact same thing that I'm saying. You know what I'm saying? This isn't anti-immigrant. These people want to make sure that their communities are safe, secure, clean. The schools are not overcrowded. The community's not overcrowded. People who are there are being vetted, and the community itself is being prioritized. As of right now, the current situation, it's not the community that's being prioritized. It's the migrants that are being prioritized over the community, which is dead wrong because the community is the one footing the bill.
There you go. You got 73% of the people homeless in this city are black people. What have you got for them?
For those who live near the hotel, they say they're concerned about safety, equality, and just the overall economics of a move like this. Hundreds of people packed the promontory in Hyde Park last night. And again, the majority of those who spoke up are against moving the migrants to the Lakeshore Hotel, although there were some who support the idea.
I don't know. I don't know from where they come. I don't know what the intentions are. I don't know the time frame. I don't know if this is temporary. Is it long term?
I think all of those things are just naturally what happens when you put hundreds of people together. We don't need to take seats away from the table. We just need to make that table larger.
And here's the thing, the housing crisis for these new arrivals, it continues.
All of these people chose to come here. Let me ask y'all a question in the comment section. Did these people make a conscious choice to come here? None of these people were human trafficked here. None of these people were purchased and brought here. None of these people are descendants of people who were dropped off here, purchased and bought here, or extradited from tribes because they were deemed not civilized by white people. None of that happened to any of these people. And you know what? We were talking about this in the Discord last night, and shout out to everybody that's in the Discord again. Man, we're going to start talking about how indentured servitude benefited non-black people here in the United States and how it helped them buy into whiteness, which is one of the difference between chattel slavery and indentured servitude. So we got something for PragerU coming down the pipe.
To be a problem after a full year of migrants being sent to Chicago from Texas. There are roughly 13,000 people who have been sent here, and many of them are still sleeping at Chicago police stations. Despite the majority of residents at last night's meeting who are against the migrants moving into that hotel near them, the city still plans to move them there as early as the beginning of September.
All right, so there's that. All right, let me see what they're talking about here.
Tonight, Chicago continues to struggle with the migrant housing crisis. OEMC reports 4 more buses arrived today, and Chicago police station lobbies right now housing more than 1,500 asylum seekers.
Tonight, people living in Greektown got a chance to learn more about plans to rent out the Parthenon Guest House. This is a hostel near Halstead and Van Buren, all to help provide temporary housing for migrants. NBC5's Everett Cassidy has reaction tonight.
I'm broadly frustrated at the lack of detail and lack of notice I've been given.
Alderman Bill Conway just got word days ago from the mayor's office about migrants moving into Greektown's Parthenon Guest House hostel. He organized a community meeting with residents and the city, hoping to answer frustrations and concerns.
I'm a Christian. I believe in helping everyone. And that means everyone. I want to help the migrants, but I also want to help like the people I saw walking over here. It would be one thing to bring people in and you have the services and supports, but you don't have them. You don't even have them for the people who here.
Here's what we learned from the meeting.
So now here's my question. What moves politically can people do to start weakening these kind of policies? Because if you ask me, one thing that people need to know is people need to know issue numbers, right? In addition to people knowing issue numbers, people need to know what politicians support what. They need to know what laws need to be attacked in order to stop this kind of thing from happening. So my question is, if you are somebody that lives in a community where this is being done to you, what is your plan to politically combat this and politicians who are initiating these kind of things? What is your plan to stop that from happening? What is your plan to combat that?
Approximately 196 migrants will be moving into this hostel, likely singles instead of families. No background checks on the new residents will be done by the city. The hostel can host
no background checks. So they get to move in. You got to have a background check to move into an apartment. You got to have a credit check to move into an apartment. They just get to move right in. How y'all feel about that?
host 136 people, so there will likely be 60 more people than the hostel can accommodate. The Parthenon was previously used as a migrant shelter from October of 2022 to February of 2023. The new arrivals are expected to now move in Friday, September 15th, and additional security measures are being taken.
I have been assured by the mayor's office that there'll be 4 security guards on a 24/7 basis.
Meanwhile, Chicago police note that there are nearly 7,000 migrants in city shelters and almost 2,000 waiting for placement. More busloads of migrants are heading to Chicago as early as tomorrow. So what happens next, and what exactly?
So now, again, my question is, you know that this is a bipartisan effort because the federal government's not stepping in and assisting with the situation or stopping the situation. So you know that this is a bipartisan effort. This is a bipartisan effort being orchestrated by both the Democrats and by the Republicans. Would you all agree? If you guys agree that this is an initiative being done by the Democrats and the Republicans, then give me a thumbs up. If y'all disagree and y'all don't think that it is, then give me a thumbs down.
Is the end goal here. A representative from the mayor's office says that Chicago is a sanctuary city, and the goal
Shout out
is
to
to make
Bert.
sure
What's
that we have
good
the
with it, bro?
resources to provide for residents and those seeking asylum here in Chicago. In Greektown, Everett Cassimy, NBC 5 News.
It be going down in Greektown. I seen some wild ass videos. From Greektown. Don't they have like a little festival or something like that? So there was another video that I wanted to show y'all about the migrants moving into Lakeshore Hotel. And it's a different one than what we were talking about, than the one that we saw. Shout out to Two Factor. What's good with it, bro? So let's take a look at this real quick. See, migrant Chicago. As housing crisis continues, some expected to move into Lakeshore Hotel. I'm going to tell you guys what I think might eventually happen, and I want to know what you guys think about it. I think that they're just going to overflood all of these areas. They're going to overflood all of these areas. And then once they've overflooded these areas, those of us that live in like the Midwest, you know what I'm saying? Those of us that live in those areas that like aren't really affected by this, they're going to start moving those people to our areas. If you ask me, I think that's what's coming next. So now my question is, if you guys agree with me that that's possibly what's coming next, shout out to Extreme X. What's good with it, bro? What's the remedy to deal with it?
Rob, that hotel was chosen in part because it previously housed migrants earlier this year. But some neighbors say during that time, there were problems with noise, cleanliness, and even drug use.
Wait. Can we get some order in here, please?
Angry words and heated confrontation over plans to house migrants steps from people's front doors.
I don't want them there. Take them someplace else or send them back to Venezuela. I don't care where they go.
This is a generous city. We are a city of immigrants.
This standing room only meeting between...
This is a generous city. We're a city of immigrants. Somebody made it a city of immigrants. And it wasn't the residents. Yeah, they're doing this in how many people? Shout out to Jesse. Is Jesse Paris still in here? They're doing this in Denver. I saw an article from I forget what was it, the Denver Gazette or the Colorado Post or something like that. One of those local news media outlets out there. They're doing this in Colorado. And I gotta agree with Torian. This has been ongoing for years. This was decades in the making. Facts. And people like Tucker Carlson, the white media, white people think that this is somehow about them when it's actually white classified immigrants that they're bringing in. Like it there's just so much insanity around the board that we have to deal with coming from all of these other people. You know what I'm saying?
Chicago City officials and Hyde Park residents comes as the city prepares to utilize as early as Friday the Chicago Lakeshore Hotel at 49th and DuSable Lakeshore Drive.
May as well go for both. Go for both, Maxwell. Politically and realistically.
House up to 300 migrants.
We believe that every community should support the asylum seekers.
The city also eyeing this former U.S. Marine Corps
super facts, Afro. Exactly. These are white Hispanics because they wouldn't allow the black ones to come like this. Facts. We already seen what they do with black with black immigrants. We seen what they do. What they did with those Haitians was a good example of what they do with the black immigrants. We've not ever seen any immigrants get handled like how the Biden administration handled those Haitians, right?
Facility near Foster and Kedzie, with the number of migrants at police stations doubling in recent weeks.
The dirt, the grime.
The Fraternal Order of Police president posting video of overflowing garbage and people sleeping shoulder to shoulder blocking entrances.
This is absolutely unacceptable and ridiculous working conditions.
Earlier this week, an adult and 2 children suffering from flu-like symptoms had to be taken from the 4th District station to a hospital. Back in Hyde Park, neighbors asking, what about us?
Property tax relief, because it's going to be, we're changing the neighborhood. We're doing something for you.
I want y'all to understand. Does everybody see what they're watching? Does everybody see this? This is what Dr. Claude Anderson was talking about when he was saying that black people can't fight all these groups. All of these groups are trying to fight black people. You got Vivek Ramaswamy, who can't keep black people out of his mouth, yet he claims to be a politician and has no plan to do anything with black people other than talk shit about us in order to get popularity with white people. You have all of these Spanish-speaking anti-black immigrants coming through here. People better figure something out. People better go to Amazon or wherever you go and get you some books. You better go pick up Powernomics. You better go pick up Neely Fuller Jr.'s code book. You better go pick up the ISIS papers. You better go do something. People need to understand. You're not going to be able to be a nice guy in this kind of environment. You are going to have to be able to definitively lay people down and then look around and ask who wants some next. That's what you're going to have to do. You got to embrace full villainy, period. Because this right here, nobody's negotiating with any of these people. Does this look like a negotiation or does this look like a protest? It's a protest. And the reason why it's a protest is because this is being forced on these people. When somebody is attempting to force you to be a part of something or force something on you against your will, there's two things that you can do. Two things that you can do. There's 2 options. You can lay down and take it, or you can fight to the death, regardless of what the odds look like.
Officials say the Lakeshore Hotel will be used as a migrant shelter for about 6 months, specifically for families with children, many with medical needs.
All right, so there's that. Okay. So this is interesting, right? Because again, like I said, shout out to Val Williams. What's good with it, Val? This is a bipartisan effort. If it wasn't a bipartisan effort, then the Biden administration wouldn't be ignoring anything that could possibly improve this. You guys agree? We got more evidence of Biden administration not being cooperative. As cities struggle to house migrants, Biden administration resists proposals that officials say could help. Why would the Biden administration ignore anything that they said could possibly help? Why would they do that? Does that make any sense? Let's look at this real quick.
Crisis. Yesterday, he joined CBS Mornings, where he attributed part of the issue to a delay in migrant work visas. And he explained how that is adding up to a very large bill for sanctuary cities.
What is more American than the right?
So this is Mayor Eric Adams. All right. So this is back in New York City, and they probably grouped this together because it's talking about migrants. But we talked about New York City earlier, so this is definitely within the realms of what we're talking about here. This is New York. Mayor Eric Adams. The article is about Chicago. So once this is over, we'll get back to Chicago. All right.
To work. Why are we having thousands of people here that are not given the basic premise? The precursor to sleep, to American dream, is the ability to work.
It's a 1996 law. It says you got to sit out for 5 months, right? You need that work.
And that's even with an asterisk, because even when you sit out for those 5 months, the backlog is so much. Some people could wait anywhere from 1.5 years to 2 years. And so we're saying, in essence, that we have to take care of 97,000 people: food, shelter, clothing, education, the children, the entire combination, and it just continues to flow.
So joining me now is Morad Awada. He's the executive director of the New York Immigration Coalition. Thank you so much for joining us. So we've just been listening to the mayor. I learned something yesterday when I heard him talk about how long it takes for migrants to get permission to work, which they want to do. Can you explain the reason for the 1996 law? And, you know, why there hasn't been, I don't know, an exception or some sort of modification to allow people to work faster?
Well, thank you for having me on your show today. And I think that the asylum law that your Mayor Eric Adams and you were discussing is discussing two different things. The first is that once you apply for asylum, you actually have to do it within the first year of you entering the United States. And then after you apply, 5 to 6 months later, you can submit your second application for an EAD, a work authorization. And that is it's written into our law. So for us to have that changed, it's not something that President Biden can do on his own. You would need to get Congress to change that law. And it is an unfortunate aspect of the asylum law.
So now, look, let me ask y'all this. Yeah, I got to agree. That dude definitely sounds moist. If y'all agree with KO Kid Fit, give me a thumbs up. He sounds like he'd be tooting up. And I got to agree with Afro. If y'all agree with Afro, throw some radiation emoji in the chat. Afro Elise said there's a lot of work back in their own country. Just saying, facts. Whether that's actual work, like getting a paycheck, or work building it up so that it can be competitive and livable. You know what I'm saying? Regardless, there's definitely a lot of work that can be done. You know what I'm saying? Matter of fact, they could probably get a job helping keep people in. You know what I'm saying?
But there's other things that President Biden can do to support our newest New Yorkers and the folks who have come to the U.S. seeking refuge and safety. And that's first and foremost providing them with humanitarian parole or temporary protected status, which would eliminate.
Why they haven't even vetted any. I want people to understand this. None of this stuff should be given to anybody unless, first of all, that they've been vetted or followed the proper protocol. And even if they have been vetted or if they have followed the proper protocol, American people need to be looked out for first. We're the ones that have to give up. We're the ones getting extorted for tax money that's not even being reinvested to improve infrastructure here. Not to mention all kinds of retro policies and retro payments that FBA needs to get from the United States government. This is ridiculous. This is ridiculous. Exactly, Deneen. No background checks. What the hell? Facts. It's crazy. You got to get a background. Listen, in order for you to get a background check or in order for you to get a job, you got to take a background check. In order for you to get an apartment, you got to get a damn background check. You got to get a credit check. They can just come in and boom, it is what it is. And ladies and gentlemen, shout out to everybody that's watching. We got 94 people watching. If everybody hasn't smashed that like button, please make sure you guys take a moment, smash that like button. Let me see where we at real quick. Let me see where we at. Shout out to everybody. We hit the first 100 likes. We got 116 likes. Smash that like button so we can get to 150. We can make 200. Share the stream to your social media. All right. If you're not subscribed, hit the bell. Don't be scared.
To the U.S. seeking refuge and safety. And that's first and foremost providing them with humanitarian parole or temporary protected status, which would eliminate this need for any waiting of getting work authorization. It would actually happen once you apply for the immigration relief. You would also get work authorization similar to any other visa that you can apply for, with the exception of asylum, where you have to wait. And you know, the mayor was right. There's a huge backlog right now that's going to impact people's applications even longer than what we are anticipating, because
again, this is the $1 million question. The $1 million question is, why can't they just be sent back to their countries of origin? Even if you just took the ones that haven't been vetted, which we have to ask ourselves the question, well, why hasn't USCIS processed any of these people? Why can't they? I mean, why is that not a viable option?
You know, COVID
and another question that I think people need to start asking is, what's up with the United States government briefing people about this? Why is it that the United States government hasn't given an explanation to taxpayers of why they don't have the appropriate resources to deal with this? Because my question is, if the United States government doesn't have the appropriate resources to be able to deal with migrants, what other national security threats are we dealing with that we don't even know about?
The gutting of USCIS, as well as the staffing up, is happening, but happening not as quickly as we need it to. So there's a lot of different issues about why it will take a very long time for people to get work authorization, unless that there's a different avenue.
So if they don't get work authorization, what are they going to be doing? That right there, ladies and gentlemen, that's my question. If they're not getting work authorization the entire time while they're here, what is it that they're going to be doing? Probably exactly what we saw, causing lots of disturbances, lots of disruption to local people, which isn't good. Yeah, criminals, facts. Easy Beat says wreaking havoc, facts. We've seen videos of it. We've seen videos of it. I'm going to pause this video for a second, and I'm going to substantiate the point that I'm making here. Okay? There's concern with quote-unquote background checks. Now, here's my question for you guys. We've talked about this at length. We've talked about this ad nauseum, but we have to put this stuff out here so that if anybody ever wants to try to take our words and manipulate it or do whatever, everything is always in full context, right? Why are background checks important? Background checks raise concerns as migrants prepare to move into Greektown. Now, to all of my people that's in this stream and they're watching, if you're from Chicago, if you're from Illinois, how do the people of Greektown feel about this particular situation? That's my question. And again, remember, when it comes, you guys have seen the videos. Afro Elite has done a lot of videos about this. And again, like I said, if y'all don't follow his channel, please make sure y'all go and subscribe to his channel. You see what it's looking like in Chicago. That's only with allegedly the number that they're giving, 13,000 immigrants, 13,000 migrants. Imagine what it would look like when they get that number up to what they're dealing with in New York City.
Before saying that 14,000 people is a crisis, my concern is what will happen in the city of Chicago when we're really faced with a momentous situation that is truly a crisis.
Another neighborhood at odds over housing for the influx of migrants from the border. Thank you for joining us. I'm Scott Schneider.
And I'm Don.
So this person right here, CRL1NY, shout out to CRL1NY. that has already been addressed. If I was you, I'd go back to an earlier timestamp. We talked about New York City in the beginning, and if you want to, you can leave a comment with the timestamp.
On Hasbrook, we go straight to Tia Ewing, who is live with more from that packed meeting in Greektown tonight. Tia.
Well, Dawn and Scott, this crisis no doubt continues to grow here in the city of Chicago. Another 4 busloads of migrants showed up here today, and this hostel behind me has housed migrants in the past from October of 2022 until February of this year. Now, the difference this time, though, is that the public has been made aware of it happening just days before they move in, and residents at this community meeting, they had a lot of questions about if the migrants have had health checks and even if they've had background checks.
I cannot guarantee that everybody that comes into any of our shelters has had a background check that we can look at reliably.
Let me ask you guys a question. If this was going on in your community, would you be okay with it? If you would be, give me a thumbs up. If you would not be, then give me an angry face. I'm going to run this back again so you can hear what this woman just said.
I cannot guarantee that everybody that comes into any of our shelters has had a background check that we can look at reliably.
So why would you allow them in the shelters? Now, again, we got to ask Cornel West, is questioning this anti-immigrant? I mean, seriously? How do you know if one of these people aren't a sex offender? Now, if you get any notifications from USCIS, you'll see that a lot of these people that get picked up and convicted by law enforcement, many of these people are sex offenders. If we don't know about them being sex offenders, where they come from, a lot of times they come to the United States and commit sex crimes. Now, we're going to ask the question, am I lying about that? Yeah, facts, super facts. Afro Elite says another thing is they haven't had health checks. They've been spreading chickenpox around the city of Chicago. That's not good. And then on top of that, I'm curious. I don't know if this is going on or not. I'm gonna ask you, Afro. Knowing that this is going on, and the epidemiologists and infectious disease people are tracking these diseases, the CDC, seeing that there's a local increase in chickenpox. Are they doing anything as far as immunizations and offering immunizations at least? Or making people aware of ways of spreading, putting out information? In most cases, when something like that happens, they're not even acknowledging that those kind of things are going on. They just let that kind of thing just go ahead and go on, and it's just okay, and we'll just keep it moving as usual because we're just going to railroad everybody with this nonsense.
Checks. I cannot guarantee that everybody that comes into any of our shelters has had a background check that we can look at reliably.
Designed to hold 136 people, 196 migrants are set to start moving into the Chicago Parthenon Hostel here on Halsted Street in Greektown. Pictures on booking sites show a dormitory-style setup. Chicago police say they are prepared.
We'll be in the building to see what's going on, and then once people are outside, we'll know who they are.
The city has a 1-year contract with...
So Afro Elite says they're trying to quarantine them, but they really can't because they don't want to make it obvious, and there's too many to section off in a small room. I believe it. I believe it. Man.
With the facility set to house single men and single women. Alderman in this ward, Bill Conway, says...
And again, I want y'all to make sure that y'all heard that. Single men and single women. What are all these families that they're talking about if so many of these people are single men and single women? Y'all heard that, right? Single men, single women. When it comes to this situation here, all the mainstream media is talking about is, oh, these families and these families this and these families that. Single men and single women are not a family unit. So what is this that we're talking about here? This shit right here looks like prison. This is like a state prison. So, you know what I'm saying? I'm just saying. I guarantee you there's a reason why it looks like that too. Probably has something to do with the lack of background checks. Now, if you ask me, they know something about these people.
The city has a 1-year contract with the facility set to house single men and single women. Alderman in this ward, Bill Conway, says the city informed him a week ago this was happening.
I am disappointed and frustrated by the lack of notice.
The police stations are overcrowded with asylum seekers. 1,529 migrants are waiting for shelter while seeking refuge at...
So now, while if this wasn't a sanctuary city, while these migrants were at the police station, the police could actively call ICE and get them detained if this wasn't a sanctuary city. But because this is a sanctuary city, the police are not going to cooperate with the federal government, and they're not going to turn these people into ICE to be processed. Now, you would think that if they're chilling at the police station, they'd do some type of vetting or do some type of background check, right? Oh, that's right. They don't have no papers, so they can't. So now what? We don't have it. Let me ask you guys a question. How many people live in a state where there's a law that you'll get penalized if you get caught walking around without no ID? If you don't have a state ID or if you don't have a driver's license, if you're a citizen of the United States as well as a citizen of that city, if you get caught by the police there, you'll get in trouble for not having your license, for not having your state ID. Yet they can have no tracing, no papers, no anything. These people are virtually non-existent, yet existent outside of a police station. Just okay. Now, here's the question. Is that anti-immigrant rhetoric, or is that just questioning what the hell is going on here?
Shelter while seeking refuge at Chicago police districts. This is a look inside the 12th district where sources say tensions have risen between migrants and police. Tuesday, CPD says a 20-year-old man was taken into custody after threatening an officer. He's charged with 2 misdemeanors.
So now, again, like I said, this is the second time where we've seen this shit where they don't care, man. These migrants are going at the police. Yeah, I agree, Extreme X. If you guys agree with Extreme X, give me a thumbs up. If y'all disagree, give me a thumbs down. The next mayor of Chicago will be Hispanic. You can book it. Facts. And then they're going to go back and redistrict and break up the black voting power in the districts. Listen. Once they get Hispanic leadership in Chicago, one of the first things that they're going to do is they're going to break up the black districting in order to quantitatively ease and increase the voting block power of Latinos there. If you guys agree that that's what's going to happen, give me a thumbs up. If not, give me a thumbs down. And we'll monitor that situation and see exactly what happens in the event that does occur.
Threatening an officer. He's charged with 2 misdemeanors.
I had asked the mayor's office, I said, can people be moved from the 12th district into the Parthenon guest house? That request was denied.
Now, the city says that as for this shelter, 4 security guards will make sure to monitor this shelter at all times. That means now that the city is operating 18 shelters for migrants. Those migrants are set to start moving in here come Friday. Live from Greektown tonight, Tia Ewing, Fox 32, Chicago.
So now here's my question, right? Because, you know, we all know that when it comes to politics, we're purposely locked out and blocked out, right? My question is, what are they going to do to support the police from getting their ass whooped by these migrants that's kicking their asses? Because the police getting beat up by the migrants too.
For them, such as humanitarian parole or temporary protected status that will help them move forward.
Makes a lot of sense. So you are on the ground, you know, you see sort of these migrants face to face. I have the numbers, and the numbers are startling. The mayor says the city has spent $5 billion on.
I agree with Mark Mitchell. Mark Mitchell says, I don't care if it sounds like anti-immigration or not. This shit is wrong, and it's really only one way to deal with this. I agree with that. If you guys agree with that, give me a thumbs up. If y'all disagree with that, give me a thumbs down.
Migrant care this year alone. There are 57,000 asylum seekers currently in New York, with about 10,000 more coming each day. Those numbers, they boggle the mind to me. I mean, do you foresee, if the pace stays like this, can you see the city just sort of running out of space? I mean, it's already basically running out of space, but can you see a time where the city says we cannot accept any more?
Well, I mean, that's already being said. Why are we acting like that? That's not being said. It's not an issue of accepting or not. New York City has those right to shelter laws where they can't really do anything about it. New York City is done. It's a wrap. They're gonna. Have you guys ever seen those zombie movies where it's just a horde of zombies and they just overrun an entire town? That's what's gonna happen to New York City. They don't have any way to defend themselves. They can't defend themselves legally. The federal government's not helping. It just is what it is. New York City is a rizap. It's done. You know what I'm saying?
We've heard some of that rhetoric already from some of our elected leaders. But what we do know is that over 100,000 people have come to New York. And the vast majority of them are able to stand on their own and actually continue to support the economic and cultural well-being.
If they're able to stand on their own, why is New York City spending all of this money to refurbish cruise liners and refurbish hotels and put them in those places? Why aren't they coming to New York City and getting a $3,500 a month apartment on the Hudson River? Why aren't they doing that? What are you talking about, dude? They're not helping any damn thing. And how can they possibly help if they don't have the legal ability to work? What are you talking about?
Being of our city. So like this is the moment that, you know, migration to New York City is not a new thing. This has been happening for centuries. Folks originally came from Eastern Europe all the way to Middle East, Africa, Asia, and beyond.
Okay, they came through a process and legally. I want you to pay attention. Pay attention to what your boy is doing right here.
It's been happening for centuries. Folks originally came from Eastern Europe all the way to Middle East, Africa, Asia, and beyond to actually make New York what it is today. And the only difference in this iteration of migration is that people need a little bit of help to get on their feet. And that's what we're seeing, right? We're not seeing thousands of people arrive a day. We're seeing, if anything, maybe 100 to 200 max people a day. We're not getting many.
Hey, what is 200 times 30? Is 200 times 30 60,000? I'm pretty sure that's 60,000 a month, right? That would be a month, according to him, right? 200 times 60. 200 times 60. 200 times 6,000. Now, multiply that times 12. So multiplying that times 12 would be what, 72,000? Now, my question is, he says that that's nothing, right? My question is, how would he deal with it?
Buses every day. There's a misconception about how many people are actually getting here. I think the harder problem that we're seeing is that similar to historically unhoused families in our shelter systems, we have migrant families who are in there, which account for the vast majority of the number you mentioned in the 50,000 arena, which is about 11,000 families who amount to 40,000 people who are going to have a really hard time getting out of shelter. And we need to actually support everyone, regardless of who they are, to get out of shelter and into permanent housing, because that's going to help you lay the foundation for you being able to build a healthy and thriving life. Regardless if you've been here for 50 years as a New Yorker or 50 days, we need to really be supporting people, not keeping them in shelter, but actually.
So now my question is, if we need to be supporting people, how are we supporting the actual New Yorkers that should be in the shelters if we're putting immigrants who have no documentation and no vetting in those shelters? How is that happening? How is that occurring? How is that being done? You can't have both at the same time.
actually getting them into permanent housing that's going to help them build their lives, especially for folks who have small children. Because we see with the adults, they're getting out on their own within 30 to 45 days.
I think it's a really good reminder that this is a city that has been a haven for immigrants and migrants since the very beginning, and a good reminder that many of those numbers, they include children. Amora, thank you.
Hey, what about some havens for former slaves? Because we weren't migrants. Oh, that's right. You can't find them. You know what I'm saying? You got shit buried under Lake Lanier, shit burned down. That's right. I forgot. So now here it says officials in New York. So this article actually is about New York. I thought this was about Chicago. Despite the fact that it says in the hyperlink here that this is about Chicago. Actually, you know what? I'm going to put this link in the chat for everybody. And what I actually think that I'll do is I'm going to specifically come back to this article. All right. And the reason why I'm going to come back to this article is because this article is pretty long. And I think that this article could be a stream itself. So this article eventually will be its own stream. But in the meanwhile, if you guys are interested in it, if you want to read it, you want to look at it, whatever, you know what I'm saying? There go the link for it in the chat. All right. So next, what we're going to look at. Yeah, Denver, data instigator. Remember I said that earlier? Denver is getting the migrants sent there too. Amid migrant crisis and crime worries, Alderman proposes using deportation as a deterrent. Now, you know what? Hold on real quick. Wait a minute. Oh, you know what? I got the wrong thing up there. My bad, y'all. Give me a sec. Okay, there we go. How many people agree with that? Amid migrant crisis and crime worries, Alderman proposes using deportation as crime deterrent. Why is that going on? This article is from not that long ago. This is from August 28th of 2023. None of this is old. You know what I'm saying? None of this is old at all. Tens of thousands of asylum seekers have already arrived in Chicago, and hundreds more are coming every week. Meanwhile, there have been growing concerns about crimes being committed by some of the migrants. Why are they bringing in criminal migrants? As CBS 2 political investigator Dana Kozlov reported Monday night, one alderman is proposing a deterrent. Chicago is officially a welcoming city. 3 years ago, then Mayor Lori Lightfoot put the brakes on undocumented residents being turned over to immigration authorities after being charged with a crime. Why would she do that? So again, how many people think that that's okay? Why do they get to be immune from crime? How many people knew about that? I'm not from Chicago, so a lot of this stuff is new for me, aside from things that I hear from like Afro Elite and TD Hip Hop Media, people that cover this stuff. I didn't know that. I'm going to read this again. Chicago is officially a welcoming city. 3 years ago, then Mayor Lori Lightfoot put the brakes on undocumented residents being turned over to immigration authorities after being charged with a crime. Why? You get rewarded and you still get to stay in the United States after you get in trouble for a crime? If you're in the United States for one, illegally, because you have shit going on in your other country, you really should be on your best behavior as far as trying to not get sent back. You don't come here committing crimes and then get a slap on the wrist for it. That's bullshit. So now it says Alderman Ray Lopez wants to reverse that. I think we need to send the message loud and clear that there are certain things that are unacceptable in our society, Lopez says. Now, again, I want to bring this back to Cornel West since we talked about him in that live stream yesterday. And if you guys didn't see the live stream yesterday, please make sure you guys take a moment and watch that live stream that we did yesterday. I would like to see a debate between Cornel West and Ray Lopez. And my question for Cornel West is, why are you finger wagging at FBA, ADOS, Freeman about anti-immigrant sentiments when you have this individual, Ray Lopez, right here, who I'm sure is a second or third generation American, who even he has an issue with all of this going on? That's my question. Lopez said the message is laid out in his ordinance proposal: follow the law or risk deportation. Now, let's get a hardline stance. How many people agree with Lopez on this particular issue? If you are in agreement with this, follow the law or risk deportation, give me a thumbs up. If you disagree, you think that's too harsh, give me a thumbs down. I agree with that. Being in the country illegally, let's not forget, that's also committing a crime. I think if we have the looming threat of deportation for anyone who engages in gang, drug, prostitution, or anything else more egregious, hopefully that would deter some of the bad behavior that we're seeing, Lopez says. First of all, if I just decided to move to Canada tomorrow, I'm not going to know where to go to get in a gang. I'm not going to know I'm not going to know where to go. I'm not going to know where to buy some weed at. I'm not going to know anything. Let's just say, for instance, I go to Russia tomorrow. Let's just say, for instance, I go to South Africa tomorrow. I'm not going to know where to go to join the local, branch of the Crips. I'm not going to know where to go immediately. How are these people knowing immediately where to go? Yeah, I'm just about to go, join the Latin Kings while I'm sitting here waiting and processing. Like, how does that work? Yet, remember, they're not vetting these people. I'm going to go join the Trinitarios while I'm waiting in line. What? I'm going to go steal a motorcycle and join the Mongrels. I'm going to go steal a motorcycle and join the Banditos. How? How do you know this already? And you're not even supposed to be able to speak English all good like that. And yet you know where the local branch of every gang is? How? Probably because a lot of these people have already been working with these criminal networks and organizations. And that's probably one of the reasons why they're out, not because of political reasons in their country, but because these people are engaging in criminal degeneracy. That's why they're not coming in here legally. In most cases, right? People tend to do things unofficially when it involves paperwork if you have dirty paper. If you have clean papers, most people aren't worried about that. Yeah, here go my license. Here go my registration. I don't care. Whatever. You ain't going to find nothing. I'm not worried about it. Most people aren't doing that. They're not moving like that. So now here it says specifically Lopez's ordinance would put some provisions back into Chicago's welcoming ordinance that would allow the city to contact immigration authorities or immigration custom enforcement. I remember back in the day when coming to the United States illegally was enough for immigration and customs enforcement to detain you. Now you can come in, be here, and then you have to commit a crime, and then USCIS will come after you. How does that work? Being here illegally is a crime, and USCIS has jurisdiction over that crime. Why do you have to do something else in addition to get turned into them? Simply being here illegally is a damn crime. Like, why do we have to do this? Why do we have to go through this? Look at this. Look at this. If migrants or other undocumented residents were arrested for gang, drug, prostitution, or sex crimes against minors, all of which is what they say are going down at the shelters. They're literally saying that all of that stuff is going down at the shelters. You know what I'm saying? We can still be welcoming, Lopez said. We can also welcome with parameters. Lopez's proposal comes as concerns about behavior and criminal activity in and around migrant shelters are growing in some neighborhoods. In June, residents near the migrant shelter in the old Wadsworth Elementary School complained about disruptive behavior. Look at this. They disrespect us. They rob us. They harass us, a woman said at a meeting in June. And I'm not trying to be funny, but if these American people understand what these immigrants are saying, then that means that these immigrants are terrorizing these people in the neighborhood in the English language, which is kind of shady. Oh, you speak English, huh? You speak enough English to be able to try to harass and intimidate somebody, huh? I sound like Juvenile, huh? You know what I'm saying? 19 other elder people support the ordinance Lopez proposed, but Alderman Andrew Vasquez, the chairman of the City Council Immigration and Refugee Rights Committee, does not. So they got somebody that doesn't support it. You know what I'm saying? I don't think that that's I mean, honestly, I think that that in itself is too lenient. I think that that's too lenient. Now, I think it was my man Data Instigator that had said something about the migrants being sent to Denver. Denver, look at this. Denver serves 10,000 migrants, buys more than 5,000 bus tickets. As Venezuelan migrants continue to arrive in Denver, city resources are strained. The city bought 5,304 bus tickets for migrants leaving for other cities. Who paid for them bus tickets? Who paid for them bus tickets? That's the question. They're not checking the people to see if they got these worms inside of them right here. This is inside the stomach of one of these people. No, I'm just playing. I'm just playing. Y'all believed it for a minute, though, didn't y'all? This is an advertisement.
Many of the migrants coming to Denver do not see this city as their final destination. Sheltering migrants long term is a lot more expensive for the city than just buying somebody a bus ticket for where they want to go. Since January, the city has paid for 4,100 bus tickets with the hopes of doubling or tripling the number of bus tickets the city is currently purchasing. Our Angeline McCall has been talking with the migrants as they come into town to just find out where they're headed.
This is a place
People move through quickly.
A buscar a mi compañero que él sí llegó en esta línea.
Eduardo arrived here in Denver early this morning.
Now, hey, you know he on that Me No Black, that dude right there. You know he on that Me No Black. You know what I'm saying?
He's reuniting with his friend who had to take a different bus. For other early morning arrivals, Denver is just a stop on the journey.
En este momento, sí, acabé de llegar.
Duban worked small jobs while in El Paso to buy the bus tickets for his family.
Pues estaba trabajando los oficios varios, lo que saliera.
You know, all these people are for sure Me No Black. They part of the Me No Black tribe. These people they look too close. Like the more actually like black, the more black features that these people have, the more anti-black they are to try to kiss ass to the population at large. These are some Me No Blacks, man. Oh, man, listen, man. These people are running. These people right here, these are the ones that are running to try to find a job at PragerU. They are looking for smoke signals from a burning cross right now to try to make friends with people like that. And they do it because they, you know what I'm saying, they have the features. They hate themselves. They like Vivek Ramaswamy. They're pathetic, cowards. They don't embrace who they are, which doesn't have anything to do with us. They just better be ready to deal with villainy if they decide to, you know what I'm saying, try to get a little bit too disrespectful.
Haciendo aseo, soldando, poniendo techo.
At $90 a ticket, saving took more time than expected.
Pues, o sea, me pagaron por lo que trabajo, pero no me pagaban lo que era, lo justo. Me están explotando laboralmente, porque como uno es migrante, entonces creen que uno está necesitado, pues así, entonces lo llevo a trabajar y le pago lo que le dé la gana a ese hombre.
Here now, a place he hopes is more fair to him now that he has papers.
Atravesó 6 países para poder llegar, que venía uno corriendo, escondiéndose la migración. Los buses lo robaban, la gente lo robaba a uno. No, ya aquí está uno en los Estados Unidos.
After traveling 12 hours overnight,
Ay, Dios mío, qué frío, pues.
They'll wait here until they find a ride. Another bus, another group from El Paso.
18 días detenido y 3 días ya resolviendo el dinero para el pasaje y todo.
John crossed with his friends through a hole in the border wall.
Now, you know that dude right there is racist as hell. I wouldn't be surprised if that cat right there, he has that face for American politics. Like, that's the person of color that white people want to see trashing black people. Oh boy, right there. This dude look like Lyoto Machida. Y'all know who Lyoto Machida is? This old Lyoto Machida looking motherfucker right here.
Before immigration detained them.
Creo que es una prisión fea, porque por lo menos en celdas que eran para 90 personas nos metían 250 personas, dormíamos en el suelo. Con lo que nos abrigamos era un papel de plástico. En los 18 días que estuvimos solamente nos sacaron un día a ducharnos, pero creo que ellos estaban jugando con la psicología de nosotros para cometer el error y podernos devolver. Pero el trato fue feo, fue inhumano.
All this to make it here.
Estamos esperando que baje un poco la lluvia y...
They will wait out the rain.
No, venimos esperando meses. Esperar 4 horas no es nada.
And then head to a shelter.
Nos dieron la oportunidad de darnos el permiso para poder transitar, ya que no nos le estamos escondiendo ni a migración, ni a policía, ni a ejército, ni a nadie. Y aquí somos iguales como cualquier otro de aquí de los Estados Unidos. Ya.
Denver is a place migrants move through. Some will stop, some will rest, Some will stay.
What is the end goal here, guys? What is going to happen here? Torian said, Rob, that's your distant cousin. I'm gonna have to school him on how to. I'm gonna have to school him on how he's supposed to handle himself and conduct himself, because I guarantee you, he all kind of off code and lost and dumb. You know what I'm saying?
Feliz, muy feliz. En realidad, pues feliz porque ya se acabó la pesadilla.
Even if their journey isn't complete, they've already arrived.
Y sí, estamos felices porque en particular todos venimos en una lucha diferente, pero venimos por el mismo camino y fue muy...
MC Fact says end goal is replacement. And we've talked about this before, but I disagree with the whole replacement thing. I don't think that the end goal is replacement. Here's my question. How does white supremacy work? How does white privilege stay in place? How does all of this system maintain itself without a quote unquote designated bottom class? These people aren't the designated bottom class. So they're replacing us for what? What position of ours do they replace? They're not replacing us as a bottom class because they come in with economic mobility. So now JRS1 says, quote unquote, cheap labor. Now, here's my question. Are we cheap labor? Now, let me ask you guys a question. How many of these people are coming to the United States and linking with other Spanish-speaking people to do business? So now, if they're coming in here, right? There's a lot of Latino politicians that are working with them, right? They have family here. There's large communities that speak their language. They're already coming into the United States with a value chain, right? Would you guys agree that many of these migrants, I would say probably like 90% of them, are coming into the United States with an already existing value chain? So now my question is, if we don't have any value chains and they're already coming in to be received into a value chain, how are they replacing us? Shout out to Tabith. So now here's another question. Are we in our current economic position necessary for white supremacy to permeate? That's my question for you guys. What do you guys feel about that? Deneen, the shelter is their connection. The pro-immigration government officials, whether it's the mayor or the governor, have literally given them priority over the other citizens. That is their connection. Right? Would you agree? if you ask me, I believe that most of these people that are being brought here into the United States are, for one, being brought here to continue to derange internal politics of ours, and for two, to improve and increase white numbers and white alliances. I don't think it has anything to do with replacing us. Why would, again, how would this work without us here? How are you going to replace people without value chains with people with value chains? JRS1 says, can it be all of the above? I don't know. I'm just assuming. I honestly don't know. I wish I had the answers, but I don't know. I'm just guessing based off of my observations. Black Star Racer, shout out to Black Star Racer. He says they're more subservient. I disagree. We just sat here and watched 2 hours of them beating the shit out of the police. Right? And I gotta agree with Maxwell Jenkins. Maxwell says most of us don't understand buffer class. I could possibly agree with that, because my thing is if they're buffer classes, they're not replacing us. Then that means that they're creating a buffer. Creating a buffer isn't a replacement. Creating a buffer means to put distance between point A and point B, right? Which, if we don't understand buffer class, we got to step our game up, because buffer, everybody should know what a damn buffer is. Like, come on. These immigrants out here beating the shit out of the police.
It's the extended Labor Day sale at Denver Mattress. And right now, the more you buy, the more you save. Take $100 off every $1,000 you spend, or get up to $700 off select adjustable mattress sets, plus 4 years no interest and free shipping. But hurry, the extended Labor Day sale at Denver Mattress ends soon.
What the hell?
Many
Oh,
of
okay, there
migrants
we go.
coming
Hold
to
on.
Denver do not see this city as their final destination.
Okay, my bad. I was about to say, I didn't know where that music was coming from. I agree, Torian. Facts. Truth be told, many of us don't know why they are doing this, because we aren't running the operation at the end of the day. I agree 100%. If you guys agree with Torian, give me a thumbs up. If you guys disagree, give me a thumbs down. I agree with that 100%. And that's why I say I politely disagree. This is what I think, but I don't know definitively. I don't know. You know what I'm saying? And so the reason why that's important is because if you don't know, shout out to Yoshi Mori. What's good with it, Yoshi? If you don't know, it's dangerous putting all of your eggs into one basket, assuming that one thing is the particular reason why something is being done. You could be believing that XYZ is the reason something is going to happen, and then they totally flip it on you, and that's something else. That's why it's important to always be assessing and always be, you know, aware. And shout out to Maxwell. Maxwell said Biden told us his plan. Yeah, Biden told us his plan, right? Biden raw words were leaked in the Zoom call, right? And what did Biden say in that Zoom call? Biden didn't say that we were going to be replaced. Biden actually talked about what Maxwell was talking about as far as a buffer class. Well, you need to go through the Hispanics. Oh, damn. So the Hispanics are in between black people and white people who control all the assets, which would lend to Maxwell's point of a buffer. You know what I'm saying? So now again, if we're dealing with quote unquote buffers, right, or expanding buffers, how does a buffer expansion replace you? If you're replaced, then there's no such thing as the buffer. The buffer would become you. The buffer would become point B, right? The buffer is used to expand the distance or to slow the ability to get to the distance of point A to point B, right? So JRS1 says, and when we don't have our resources, what happens after that? I would assume probably the same thing that has been going on. We just don't have any resources, which is one of the reasons why, if you ask me, I think it's important for people to start developing methods and ways of creating value chains in order to get resources and to be able to protect money transfers from outside interference. Extra political means, you know what I'm saying? When you look at the Zoom meeting, right, like what Maxwell was talking about, and you look at how Joe Biden responds to the expectation of the government doing its job and serving its constituents, and they say, no, we're going to serve the people that didn't vote for us. At that point, when you voted for people to get put into office and they consciously make the choice and then tell you they're not going to do shit for you, you have no other option but to utilize extra political means in that situation, if you ask me. Would you guys agree? If you guys agree, give me a thumbs up. If you guys disagree, give me a thumbs down. Maxwell says, remember, they're fast tracking 11 million immigrants to citizenship, 500,000 from India. Yeah. Yep. Facts. Biden had said that he had claimed that he was going to do that first day in office, remember? And people still voted for him. He didn't say that he would sign reparations first day in office, but he did say he would do some bullshit like that, and people still voted for him, man. You know what I'm saying? How crazy is that? We got to take a moment and reminisce on the insanity. Got to take a moment and reminisce on the insanity. Who does that? You know what I'm saying? That shit is crazy. That is crazy talk, man. That is crazy talk. So, ladies and gentlemen, I actually think that that's about it. Hold on one second. I got this article from Axios, but I think we covered this in detail. Shout out to Black TS4 brother. What's good with it? Blue no matter who crowd. Yeah. Facts. And I agree, JRS1. Big facts. The good news is white supremacy doesn't always win. If it did, we wouldn't even be here. So take heart. I agree. I agree with that 100%. Facts. More facts. Maxwell Jenkins. They never promised FBA Freeman anything, but ninjas still voted for him. Man, and not only did they, again, we got to reflect on that insanity, bro. Not only did they not promise FBA Freeman anything, they literally said what they weren't going to do. Have you ever been to the job and just been like, oh, I'm not doing that? They literally did. They did that to us. I've actually done that. I've been at work and somebody told me to do something. And I just started laughing like, man, I ain't about to do that. You got your damn mind. You know what I'm saying? That's some shit I'm not about to do. That's what the Democrats did to us. And people still voted for him. Shout out to Data Instigator. He voted for Kanye. Shout out to Tricky Nick. Tricky Nick said, apparently you weren't black if you didn't vote for Biden. Apparently, if you're not black, you get policies and tangibles. That's what Biden should have said. You're not black. You're not black if you get policies and tangibles. That's what Biden should have said. That shit would have been more believable. At least his OC now urine incontinent ass would have been telling the truth. Is my presidency going to benefit you? Not if you're black. That's what he should have said. Don't y'all think that's what he should have said? That would have been more honest. That would have been the truth. That would have been the facts. Yeah, I agree. Let me ask y'all a question, because this is something that I think that people really should consider, right? Carlton says voting Democrat has become a family tradition. Would you agree that that's true? If y'all agree with that, give me a thumbs up that that's a true statement. If y'all disagree, give me a thumbs down and let me know why you disagree. Shout out to Chanel. What's good with it, Chanel? I think that people need to re-examine, quote unquote, the culture and kind of uproot the residual, the remaining Democrat loyalty out of, quote unquote, the culture, and start to work in an element of thirst for knowledge into the culture, a thirst for understanding politics to completion, right? And once people understand politics to completion, then utilize the information that they learn and understand in order to vote for candidates that will provide policies that are favorable to the optimal life for you to be able to live. You know what I'm saying? So now here it's at, and we're still at this 13,000 number on this article right here. More than 13,000 migrants have arrived in Chicago since last August. So honestly, I think that as of right now, you know, we might have missed some crimes and different things like that, but I actually think that we're totally caught up on the migrant issues when it comes to both New York and Chicago. And we even threw in a little bit of Denver. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, I've been tracking this stuff. We'll keep talking about it. If y'all see content, if y'all see information, y'all know what to do. Make sure y'all tag me on Twitter, right? Or tag me on Facebook, right? Make sure that you're part of the Discord so that you get the notifications. The link for it is in the comment section. In the Discord, it pops. It's a good time. It's fun. A lot of content in there that we don't talk about on YouTube. So make sure you guys go and check that out. Hit that link that's in the chat. If you're not subscribed to my backup channels, take a moment, subscribe to the backup channels. Before y'all leave, make sure y'all show love to the stream sponsors. My man Lehman Lucas with the Cash App. All right. My man AJ with the Cash App. AB Promotions with the $4.99 super chat. My man John Guillory with the $7 super chat. My man AB Promotions again with the $4.99 super chat. Mama Zeke with the $19.99 super chat. And John Guillory with the $20 super chat. All right. So shout out to them. Remember, it is those stream sponsors. It is you guys who are making me able to give more content, better quality content, and also across the board, like the upgrades that I did in the Discord. So shout out to y'all. And real quick, again, show John Guillory some more love with the $5 super chat. He says, in the U.S., black people are the people under the city, in the movie Demolition Man, and Wesley Snipes was actually the one that was right in the film. And you see that all the time. That we should start calling, we should give that a name. The Killmonger phenomenon. And that's one of the reasons why I tell people, examine this pop culture stuff. And after you've examined it completely, and you've examined the characters and examined the philosophies that the characters go by, ask yourself the question about embracing villainy. You know what I'm saying? So with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, absolutely MC Fact. Make sure that you guys be sure to leave a comment in the comment section. We got that goal of 20 comments every stream. So help us get that. Leave a comment. Appreciate y'all. If you're not subscribed to Just Talking with TD and Rob, make sure y'all at least subscribe by 3 o'clock, because that's when we'll be live. And I'll catch y'all on the next one. All right? Peace.